Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make Forsaken Part 6 to the series. In Part 6 is pretty much just combat. I had made it so that the killer has M1s and stuff. Made a hitbox system so that automatically creates a hitbox whenever player's character is added, as well as I added abilities and stuff. I didn't actually code any abilities, just where you would put your code for your abilities and whatnot, like where to put it and stuff. I have a ton of videos on various abilities, so you guys can go watch that stuff. And yeah, so you guys are another drill. Continue to show the series love and support, and I'll continue adding more and more stuff to the series and updating stuff and whatnot. So yeah, just keep showing series love and support. Thank you for all the love and support I've shown on the channel so far. Summer's going great, and let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay. So first things first, you're gonna go over here to your character folder, right? You're gonna open this up. You can either do this for a killer or a survivor, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna use my default character, which is the noob, because it's my default one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open up the new folder, right? You're gonna open up your class folder. You're going to, let me just make sure, okay, I'm good. So you're gonna head on over to your slots, right? You're gonna insert a number value into the slots, right? Into each slot. You're gonna name this Cooldown, and then as the name implies, this is the cooldown for each ability. Obviously, you would need to do this for each character, survivors and killers. And you would just set this to the time. This is the duration of the cooldown in seconds, right? Then you can really just copy. And then if I just select both of them, I can just right click and paste. Okay, clearly I'm not as smart as I thought I was. Okay. Slot 3, 2. Okay, let's try it like this. Yeah, paste into selected. There we go. Okay, so I'm not stupid. Okay, so then we're just gonna change the cooldown time. Just give them all like random times and stuff. So boom. So you're gonna put that inside of each slot. So it has its cooldown, and then once you're done, that's it. Remember, it is a number value. Rename it to cooldown, and then set its value to whatever the cooldown time should be. Then, right, we're done there. You're gonna go to Core GUI, open that up, open up your hotbar and stuff, right? You could just make the hotbar visible. Now, I want to say this to make this very clear. We're only setting this to visible for this video so that we can test it at the end. When you are done with this video, make sure you set it to not visible and stuff. I don't want people to go to my server complaining that they need help and the whole time they just forgot to make it not visible and stuff, right? So yeah, so we're just doing this just so that we can test it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your slots, right? You're gonna open them all up and stuff, right? Your slot image labels, and then you're just going to find the cooldown text label, right? Remember we made this in the first part of the series. So you're just going to select all of them. So you do this by selecting one, then hold the control keybind, so CTRL. You're going to hold that down and then just select all of them, or you can do it individually, up to you, but this would just save us some time. So what you want to do is, right, just to double check on properties, make sure that they have no text, make sure that they are visible by default, and make sure their background transparency is set to 1, which this is how it should be, but just to make sure. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set their background color to red. That is going to indicate that it is currently on cooldown, right? And then yeah, so obviously you're not going to be able to see it now because our background transparency is set to 1. We're going to set it to 0 and stuff when a player uses an ability. So then that's it for the hotbar frame. Very minor changes to stuff outside of the code and stuff. So now we can move on to the coding changes. So let's go ahead and open up our core local script. We're going to scroll down just a little bit right here, right? You are going to click right here. You go after this end, enter, go up, you'll say else if input dot keycode is equal to enum dot keycode dot q, because remember these are our abilities keybinds are q, e, and r, but of course you can use whatever you want, it's up to y'all. And not processed, enter. Then what you're going to say is you're going to get the ability name. So you're going to say ability name is equal to, now I want to be very specific here, okay? I want to clarify something. So we'll say core GUI dot hotbar frame dot slot 1 image label dot ability name text label dot text. Now I want to clarify something. Keep in mind, right? If you notice, mine is QER, right? QER, like it goes in that order specifically for the hotbar, which means the Q keybind is for slot 1. The E keybind is for slot 2, and the R keybind is for slot 3. So make sure yours is set up the exact same way, or you're going to have to change the code, right? Because pretty much this, I'm setting slot 1, as in like the Q keybind will be for slot 1. So if you want Q to be for slot 2, then you'd have to obviously change this and stuff, right? Yeah, but yeah, then we're going to fire their mode event. We're going to say core event fire server in quotation marks. We're going to put combat. Then you're going to go on the outside, comma. In quotation marks, you're going to put ability comma, then you're going to send over the ability name, right? Then the great thing is we can just copy and paste this to yourself sometimes. So you're just going to select that whole else if, copy, paste, and paste. So Control plus V. Then you're just going to change this stuff, right? So then for our second one, we have E. And then you're just going to change this to, oh, my bad. This is actually supposed to be slot 1. That's supposed to be slot 1. This is supposed to be slot 2. And then you're going to go down here, do the same thing, R, change this to slot 3, and then there we go, right? Just like that, we are done with that part. Then you're going to go and actually add something. So you're going to skip this end right here, right? So enter. Then you're going to say else if oh my bad, input. I feel as though I have done something wrong, because why isn't it? I'm confused. If I skip this end, wait, let me just go find it actually. So it's right. Keyboard. Else if input. I feel as though I've done something wrong. I have done something wrong, guys. I am so sorry. Okay, because I know this is going to confuse people. People get very confused when I do stuff like this. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Here's what you guys are going to do, right? Let me see. Actually, I think I can just delete this because then, yeah, you don't need that. Okay, so here's what you're going to do, right? You're going to select all this stuff, right? Now, because people tend to get very confused when I do this stuff. I don't know why or how, but you're going to select all our else statements, right? You're going to copy that or cut it, and then, or just delete it, right? But make sure you copy it first, right? You're looking, I accidentally did the wrong one. I did here instead of here, my bad. So you're going to click this arrow for line 49. If input.key code, the line number may be different for you. You're just looking for if input.key code is equal to left shift for the sprint system, right? You're going to go after that end, enter, then you're just going to paste it. So paste, boom. The way it should work, you should see it like this, right? It should be like that. Because I was wondering, like, well, I was confused. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to skip an end after this, which I'll leave two ends. Now we're going to say else if input. There we go. Input.user input type is equal to enum.user input type dot. Here you're going to put mouse button 1 and not processed into, which means, of course, the player's not typing in chat. So those were abilities. Now we need to do M1s. So we're going to say core, okay. Cannot type core event fire server in quotation marks, put combat comma in quotation marks M1, and then boom, just like that. We are done with that part, and now we need to handle the what is it called, the cooldown stuff. So you're gonna go down here, find the else if event that you guys recall the cutscene stuff we did in the last part. You're gonna find the arrow, boom, enter, then you're gonna say else if, okay, else if. Alright, else if event type is equal to in quotation marks, you're going to put cooldown, enter, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to create a variable for the slot. So slot is equal to arg1, so it'll tell us if it's either slot 1 or slot 2 or slot 3. Then you'll create a variable for the cooldown duration, which will be equal to arg2. Boom. Then you're going to locate the cooldown text label, the specific one for whatever slot that is, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. So cooldown text label will be equal to core GUI.hotbar frame, find first child. It'll be slot, because it'll say slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. But remember, we named our image labels the word slot, the number of the slot for the slot, as well as the words image and label. So we're gonna have to say slot dot quotation marks image label, right? Then go on the outside, you're going to say dot cooldown text label, because then we need the text label, right? Then you're going to you're going to make it so that you're going to say cooldown text label dot transparency is equal to 0, so that it's visible. And then you're going to set up a tween. So you're going to say, look, cooldown tween, right, is equal to ts create, put your cooldown text label, comma, tween info dot new, right? Then you're going to put your cooldown duration, comma, enum dot use whatever easing style you want, linear, comma, enum dot easing direction, again, use whatever you want. Then go in between the parentheses, comma, special brackets, then you're going to put transparency is equal to 0, or sorry, 1, right? It'll slowly become transparent and stuff once the cooldown is finished. Then you're just going to say cooldown tween play, And then just like that, we are done with the cooldown stuff and we're done with the local script. Now let's move on to the server script. Okay. So you're going to then open up the core server script. The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create a variable for our combat module, which we need to create. So you guys see the server script over here. We are going to click the plus icon, right? You're going to insert a module script or just, type it whatever. Module script. You're going to want to rename this to combat module. Boom, right? We'll come back to this. Don't be alarmed. We will come back. So we're going to come back here. We're going to create a variable for it. So combat module. We're going to say require script dot combat module, right? Then we're done with that part. We're going to come all the way down here to our character added stuff right here. Boom. So like where we do the health and everything. So the first thing we're going to do is once the player has character is added and whatnot, we're going to say combat module dot create hitbox. We haven't made this function yet, but we will. Then they're going to send over the player's character. So every time the player's character is added, we will create a new hitbox for them, right? So that's good. Then we will scroll down, right? I needed to add a second argument because remember we sent over multiple pieces of information for the combat stuff. So we will say comma arg2. We will add that. Then we will go right here and then enter, go up. You'll say else if event type is equal to in quotation marks combat, enter, right? Then you will say create a variable. You'll say combat type is equal to arg1. Then you'll say if combat type. I meant to skip. You'll say if combat type is equal to in quotation marks M1. So if a player's trying to, M1 or whatnot, and you also need to double check something, you need to make sure the only people, to my knowledge at least, the only players who can use M1s and stuff or do M1s, I should say, are the killer, not survivors. So you're gonna check to make sure that they're using a killer. So you're gonna say in a character folder dot killers, find first child's player.class.value, just to double check. Enter, then you'll say combat module .m1. Again, we'll create this function after we're done here. Then you'll send over the player's character. Enter, then you'll say else if combat type is equal to in quotation marks ability. Enter. Then you will get the ability name is equal to arg2, right? Then you will get the class name. Say class name, which is just the name of the class. So say is equal to player.class.value. Enter, then you'll say combat module. Again, we will add this. So you're gonna say regular bracket class name, go on the outside, in parentheses, send over the player as well as the ability name stuff, right? So I want to clarify what this is doing, right? So the way this is going to work is you're going to have functions for each individual character. What that means is, right, for the noob and stuff, I'm going to have one function that handles all three of noob's abilities and stuff. Because there's like two ways you could do this. Well, there's multiple ways, but the two ways I was thinking of, you could either have a separate function for each individual ability, or you could have a function for each character and then just, have if statements to handle each thing. So I decided to go with like functions for each character and stuff, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to say comment module. It's going to search for a function on this comment module script that has the class name. So obviously the name of the function has to match the exact name of the character, right? Or the class, whatever you want to call it. Then it'll just send over the player instance as well as the name of the ability. So we will come here. We will change this. So we could delete that. We're gonna say or actually just do this. Just rename it to combat module, right? Then just Control C, Control V, right? Then we need to create some other variables. First, let's create a variable for our sound service of the game service. Oh, my bad. I don't know why I keep saying that. Game good service, sound service. By the way, I forgot to mention that actually. I do have a punch sound. I do have a punch sound and stuff. Got it from the toolbox and stuff. Very simple. Well, now you guys know I don't make any of that stuff. And yeah. Oh, by the way, I actually forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video. My bad. So for the M1s and stuff, you guys know how, I know people have asked me for this and whatnot, how each character has like their own animations and stuff, because obviously each killer is going to have their own kind of like M1 animation, because like Jason uses like a knife and other characters use whatever they use. So to do that, right, you would just go to your killers folder, and then inside of the killers folder, you would insert an animation into said folder. So animation, boom, You have to use your own animation ID. You cannot use mine. Just get animations from the toolbox if you don't already have your own. So you would just rename it. This is very important. Make sure it is specifically this. You would name one left punch animation. Name the other one right punch, right? I mean, you could do left slash right slash whatever, right? It just has to be consistent and stuff, right? So you would just do this, and then you just do this for each killer and stuff. So these are the animations for that specific killer. These are the animations specifically for Jason and stuff. So yeah, that's how you would do that and whatnot. I just wanted to get to that part. But yeah. So we'll need the sound service. Then we will need to, of course, create a variable for our character folder. So is equal to game.replicated storage, wait for child, sorry, not replicated storage, server storage, character folder, and then lastly create a variable for our core remote event. So game.replicated storage, wait for child, core event, right? And then let me just double check to make sure, okay, we are good. Then you're gonna go here, here's how you're gonna create a function. You're gonna say function combat module, so the name of the module, right? I just want to clarify, not the name, not this name, this, right? Combat module dot create hitbox. We're gonna set up the hitbox the first. So remember, we sent over the player's character, enter, right? Then you're gonna set up the hitbox. So we've done this millions of times before. Well, some of y'all are new to my channel. A lot of y'all are new actually. But anyway, hitbox is equal to instance dot new. Then in parentheses, it's gonna be a regular part. Then we're gonna set a whole bunch of properties. Hitbox dot name is equal to quotation marks hitbox. Hitbox dot anchored is equal to false. Hitbox dot can collide is equal to false. Hitbox dot massless is equal to true. Hitbox dot transparent is equal to 1 unless you're testing. Hitbox dot size is equal to vector3 dot new 5 comma 6 comma 2.5 enter. Hitbox dot color is equal to color 3. That's not color 3. Color 3 dot new 1 comma 0 comma 0. This is for testing. And then you're going to say hitbox pivot 2. You're going to set it C frame to the characters humanoid root parts C frame. And enter. Then you're going to weld it to the player's character. So weld constraint is equal to instance dot new weld constraint. You're going to say weld constraint dot part 0 is equal to hitbox, and then weld constraint dot part 1 is equal to characters humanoid root part, right? Then lastly, you're going to after that part, you're going to say hitbox dot parent is equal to character. Oh my bad, not character folder, character dot humanoid root part, right? Then also you're gonna do the same thing as a weld constraint parent, but parent this to the hitbox. So boom. Now we're going to create two values, next animation and attack status. So first things first, we'll do next animation, which would be a string value. Well, both of these will be string values. So string value, what this is going to tell us is whether or not, like, let's say, so first you're going to start off with a left punch, right? Then you're going to move to right punch, then back to left. You need to keep track of that and stuff. So whatever the value is will determine, like, the animation that'll play. So we'll say next animation dot name is equal to next animation. Then next animation dot value is equal to in quotation marks. Then you put left or right here. Whatever your default is for starting, I wouldn't understand why you would start with a right punch. Usually most games is left, but you guys can put whatever you want. So this should either be one of two things, left or right. And then you parent it to the character. Very important. Make sure you parent it to the character because you want this to reset whenever whenever the player dies or like resets the character or whatnot. Then we're gonna create another value. Great thing is we can just select the next animation stuff and just copy it and just paste it. Right? So this is going to be our attack status. Attack status system is very important. This is so that we can keep track of what the player is currently doing, so that like they can't be using their Q ability and then use E ability at the same time. We need to make sure they can't use abilities at the same time. They have to wait till their other one's finished. So that they can't like continuously use M1s. They have to wait, cooldowns and whatnot. So we will say attack status, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and Control V. The value of this by default is going to be set to nothing, and stuff that lets us know the player is not doing anything combat-wise. And then we are done with our first function. The hitbox function is done. Now on to our second function. This will be our M1 function. We are going to say function combat module dot M1 in parentheses. You're going to put character once again, then enter. Then you're going to do a check. You're going to say if character remember the attack status we just made. So the attack status dot value is equal to, in quotation marks, enter. My bad. It's supposed to be not equal. So as in little squiggly line. So pretty much if it's not equal to this, that means the player is either being attacked or is currently attacking somebody else. So we will say return, which will just end. It'll end the function. Like it'll halt execution. So assuming they're not doing anything at the combat wise, you're then going to set the attack status value set to attacking, right? Then we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. First, let's create a variable for the player's character. So player is equal to game.players, find first child, character.name, right? Then let's go ahead and locate the animation for M1. This is what I was talking about, because remember, this is the killer stuff. This is what I'm talking about. We're locating either one of these animations. So you're going to say animation, right, is equal to character folder. Since the killers are the only ones that can do M1s, we're going to say dot killers, right? Then you're going to do regular brackets. It's not gonna lie, it's 2 a.m. I'm a little tired, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But anyway, player.class.value. So you're gonna find their specific class, the specific character they're using, go on the outside of that. Then you're gonna do regular brackets again, because all this is doing is finding the class. So we have found so let's say I have Jason equipped, we have found Jason, but now we need to find the specific animation. So we need to like search even further. So then after that, we're then going to say character.next animation dot value, which is either going to be left or right. Then dot 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 quotation marks. Then we need punch animation just to, because that's, it's left. Because then this is either just going to say left or right. Then we need to add the punch animation part, right? So that's how we retrieve our animation. Then after that, you're going to set up the animation track. So create a variable, attack at, short for animation track, is equal to character dot humanoid dot animator load animation in parentheses. You're gonna use, sorry, not script. You're gonna throw the animation in there, then enter, then you'll say attack at play, right? Then you'll also play our punch sound effect. Again, get that from the toolbox. Then we're gonna set up raycasting to detect if they're within proximity to hit another player. So first things first, we're gonna create a variable for our start position, which will be equal to characters humanoid part.hitbox.position. Then create a variable for our direction, which is equal to character.humanoid root part.hitbox.cframe.look vector. Then create a variable for our raycast parameters, so it's equal to raycast params dot new close parentheses enter. Then you'll say raycast params dot filter type is equal to enum dot raycast filter type dot exclude, and then raycast params dot filter descendants instances is equal to special brackets character, not character folder, character. Then you're going to say get descendants close parentheses. Then after that, you're going to put a space. You're going to create the ray. So ray is equal to workspace raycast, throw your start position in there, comma, you're going to throw your direction, but you need to multiply this by something. So multiply it by 5. You can adjust this number as need be. The higher the number, the higher the range. Pretty much what this means is this is pretty much the range for the player for how far they can hit another player and stuff, right? The bigger this number, like the further. So pretty much like if that number is like 50, I could like imagine that the wall right there is a player. I could like hit them from like all the way over here. So obviously you wouldn't want to set that to too high, but you also want to set it to like a good number to where they're able to hit people and stuff. You could also have like a range thing where it's like based on the character and stuff if you wanted to do something like that, but that's up to y'all. But anyway, you're gonna say comma raycast params, right? Then you're going to use an if statement. You're going to say if ray, so if the ray was cast, and ray.instance, which means to make contact with something, and ray.instance.name is equal to hitbox. Enter. Then you're going to create a variable for our enemy character, which would be equal to ray.instance.parent.parent. So a double. Then you'll say enemy character.humanoid.health is less than equal to, put whatever damage amount you want. I'm going to put 5, but it's up to y'all. Then after that if statement, you're then going to do the animation track stuff. You're going to say if character dot next animation dot value is equal to in quotation marks left, then you'll switch it. So character dot next animation dot value will then be equal to right. So you can just after that enter, then you can just do this, type the word else, copy that if statement, copy, go right after, paste, and then boom, and then just flip these. This will be right, and this will be left. So we're updating our animations. Then after that, last thing to do is the cooldown. So task.delay. Shout out to whoever told me about this. Somebody mentioned this to me in the comments to use this instead of using delay function because that's deprecated. So shout out to them. So we're gonna say character folder. This is where the cooldown stuff comes into. Oh my goodness. Wait, why did I? Oh my. Oh. Wait. Wait. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I completely forgot to mention this. My bad. I spent so much time on the ability stuff. I forgot to talk about the M1 stuff. Okay. So one other thing you need to add to the killers, right? So for your inside of your killers folder, you need to insert another number. You need to insert another number value. So number value, right? And this is going to be your M1 cooldown because I am aware of the fact that each killer has like their own cooldown and stuff. Like some of them can like hit faster and whatnot. So you're gonna set this right to whatever that is, and just double check it. Okay, you're gonna set that to whatever that is. So all you would do is insert a number value, rename it to M1 cooldown, then set its value to whatever the time is in seconds and stuff, and then that's how long you're gonna wait. So you're gonna say character folder dot killers regular brackets player dot class dot value, then go on the outside and say dot M1 cooldown dot value comma function close parentheses, then enter. Then once you're done, you're going to say character dot attack status dot value is equal to nothing, and then boom, we're done with that, right? Now for our last function, I'm going to show you guys how to set up the character functions, right? This is very important. Make sure you're paying attention. So you're going to say function, just like we've been doing. You're going to say combat module. Then you're going to put the exact, and I mean the exact name of your class. Do not change anything. You see how it's capital N, then OOB. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this because people tend to forget programming is case sensitive. I'm going to do this, right? So noob, that's the name of my class. Enter. You put whatever yours is. Now obviously you would just do the same thing, like you would say function combat module JSON close parentheses enter. Like you would just keep doing the same thing and stuff. Like for each character, you just do that for each individual character, right? So that new. So the information we sent over is the player as well as the ability name, right? Then the first things first, let's create a variable for our player's character. So player.character. Then let's create a variable for our class folder, which is equal to character folder. We will say character folder. Clearly, in this case, since this is specifically for the new class, you would say character folder dot survivors dot kill sorry not killers dot noob. Now obviously you need to be very careful with this and stuff. Once you're making the other functions for the, like if you're copying and pasting and stuff, right, once you're doing the functions for the other characters, make sure you change this. So if it's a different survivor, change this part. If it's a different killer, you have to change this part and obviously this part, right? So then after that, we're then going to do our if statement check, which we did up here. We could just save ourselves time, scroll all the way up, just take this part of the code right here, copy, then just paste it. Check to make sure they're not currently attacking. If they're not, then we'll proceed. Then we'll need to get the current slot, whether it's slot 1, slot 2, or slot 3. So we'll create a variable for it, set it to nil by default. Then we will use a for I loop. We will say for I comma v in pairs. We will say class folder get children. Go on the outside, enter. So class folder. So just to be specific, we're not talking about this. We are talking about the actual specific class that the player has selected. So for this, it would be noob. So we're getting all of the noob children, right? What we're gonna say is we're gonna say if string.find, then you're gonna say v.name. So all of these names pretty much, comma, and then the string we're looking for is slot. We want to ignore stuff like skins, cost, health. We just want to look for slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, right? So then we're gonna do that. So that, and of course v.value. To remember, the value of the slots is the name of the ability. So v.value is equal to ability name. Then that means we found our slot. So enter, then you would say slot is equal to v, right? Then you're gonna skip the two ends. Then you're gonna do if statement. You're gonna say if ability name, very important. If ability name is equal to, in quotation marks, And then now you would just again copy and paste the exact name of the ability, right? So you just copy and paste Control C, Control V, right? Enter. So if ability name is equal to that, then you would insert attack code. You would insert, or not really attack code, more like ability code. You would insert that right here, right? I have a ton of videos on how to make various abilities and stuff. I will not be showing you how to make abilities from the game and stuff. I try to make that clear. Then you would throw an else if, else if ability name is equal to, oh, by the way, make sure you're going, well, actually, on second thought, actually, it doesn't matter. You actually don't have to go in order, but I mean, it's probably just easier if you do. So then I'm gonna go slot 2, copy and paste this, Control C, and quotation marks, Control V. Then enter. Same thing, insert ability code. You guys don't have to write these comments and stuff. I'm just writing this just to, just so you guys know. Then same thing, else if ability name is equal to, let's go to slot 3, get that, Control C, Control V, then enter, and then same thing, insert ability code. We are almost done. Then after that whole if statement, you will then fire the remote event, core event, fire, make sure you do client singular, fire to the player, comma, name of the event will be cooldown, this is the cooldown stuff, comma, then slot.name, so either slot 1, slot 2, or slot 3, as well as the cooldown value, so the duration of the cooldown. Then lastly, you're going to do task.delay, then we're just going to do the cooldown stuff. So we're just going to say slot.cooldown.value, comma, function, close parentheses, in between the parentheses, enter. Then you're just going to say character.attackStatus.value is equal to nothing. And then boom. Right? And then that's it. Let's go ahead and test to make sure this works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, just read the description to figure out about that. Remember, I said that we left this visible just so that we could test. Okay, so if I press Q, as you guys can see, it turned red. I cannot use it until it has, as you can see, and stuff. You'll notice I'm spamming the keybind, but you'll notice how it turns red and then goes away. I'm only able to do that like once it's finished. If I press E, I can't use Q. Can't use Q until E has finished and stuff, until the cooldown has finished. Then we have R, and then boom, as you guys can see, there we go. So that's working and stuff, right? So there's that. Make sure we have our hitbox. Open up our human root part, and there's a hitbox. And then just to double check, set a transparency, and then boom, we have our hitbox. Okay, great. I'm not gonna test the combat with like an NPC and stuff. If there are any issues and stuff, or like with M1s, like if you're testing like on an NPC or anything, I probably should show people how to do that. Actually, not thinking about it, because I know people are gonna ask. So, okay, first things first, here's what we're gonna do. We need to test the M1s. Remember, M1s don't work for survivors, which is great. This is a great test because M1s don't work because I'm a survivor. I have to change. So I'm gonna change. Remember, you have to change to a killer class that has like your animation and your M1 cooldown value. So I'm gonna switch to the Jason class. So I'm gonna switch to the server side, right? Go find my player in the players service. Find my class. Change its value to, oh, the police are chasing somebody outside. That's crazy. Anyway, so then we're going to change the value to Jason, right? Then I'm going to switch back, right? And then, oh, my ability's updated. Cool. Anyway, so then what you're going to do is you're going to press boom, there we go. And now I have M1s. I can still use my abilities as no. Oh, I know it is. I didn't what's it called? I didn't add ability. I didn't add cooldowns. That's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what. Oh no, sorry. Well, I didn't. Well, that is true, but I didn't make the function for them and stuff. That's why it's giving me that error. So don't panic if you get that error. But anyway, as you guys can see, we have our M1s. As you can see, I'm sparing the mouse, but I can, it's just one at a time kind of thing. So yeah. Boom. So there you go. So yeah, if you guys want to test this with an NPC, here's what you have to do. I don't know why I just did that. So you would click play, right? You would go into the workspace, open up your character, open up the human root part, find your hitbox, copy, stop testing, avatar at the top, rig builder, whatever kind of rig you want, it doesn't really matter. Find your rig, open it up, find its human root part, right click, paste into, right? Set the hitbox transparency to like 0.5 so you can see it. What's probably gonna happen is it's probably gonna spawn like either down or up, or like it's low or higher. Just all you gotta do is just drag it up or down. You shouldn't have to do much moving around. It should just be like a little bit. So once you move it around, just do it like that. Transparency to 1, and then open it up. Find the wells constraint. Set the part 1 to the human root part of that NPC. Then you are good to go. Now let's go ahead and test just for the sake of testing. I'm gonna switch again to the killer class, right? Okay, so I will walk slowly, slowly over to the rig, and let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. Okay, as you can see, I'm doing the damage on my M1s. Okay, so everything works. So yeah, let me know if you guys find any bugs, and let me know again what you guys want to see and stuff. I mean, and everything. Don't ask for it for like in a specific part. Just let me know what y'all want to see, and I'll decide if like I feel like doing that for the specific part. Cause some stuff I do want to do, which is I just don't feel like doing that now. Kind of thing and stuff. But yeah, you already know the drill. Show the series love and support. Continue to show love and support, and I will continue dropping more and more parts for you guys and stuff. So thank you guys for watching the video. Really do appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Yo, what's good on today's video? I got how to make Forsaken part 7 and stuff. Guys, do not stress and do not worry just because I haven't uploaded a video for a series in a minute and stuff. Like, unless I specifically say that I'm not doing any more videos for that series, the series is still ongoing. There's still plenty more to cover in especially the Forsaken series. There's a lot more to still cover and stuff. So I'm going to be uploading more and more videos and stuff. I just got to be patient. I got 3 series going right now and other stuff to do, right? So just be patient and stuff. So here's what I did. So a lot of this is really bug fixes, but then I included something that y'all have asked me a million times for. So made it so cool. Someone pointed out to me, made it so cooldowns only apply to specific abilities. Before, the way it was that cooldowns were like if you use one ability, it would just put all like your entire ability set, move set on cooldown. I made it so that cooldowns only apply to each individual ability rather than um having it for all abilities. Then I fixed players being able to start the round as the opposite class type. What that means is made it so that players can't start the round as like if let's say they're selected as a survivor, they're not going to be able to start the round as a killer and stuff, and vice versa. I made it so players can't move during cutscenes. Some people pointed this out to me. And stuff aside from the killer, of course, but players will not be able to move during cutscenes and stuff. I also fixed an issue where you're getting stuck when spawning in and stuff. This is where like when the round starts and then you get stuck in the spawn, which is a very simple fix. And then I also added the terror/killer radius and stuff. So it's not all that complex. It's just simply whenever a survivor gets close to a killer and stuff, music will start playing and stuff, right? Um, so yeah, that reminds me actually, okay. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and, because I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of changes and stuff, a lot of changes. Let's go ahead and open up the local script, right? Or actually, before I do that, let me just take care of this. So for the fixed getting stuck when spawning in, all you have to do, like if whenever the round started and like your player would get stuck in the spawn, all you have to do is just like you can select the spawn, so hold the control key and then just select all of them, or do it individually. Just set can't collide to false and stuff. In all honesty, just set can't collide to false, so that they'll just pass right through it. But yeah, so then you're gonna want to go to you're gonna want to go to the local script, go after our SS variable for the sound service, go after that create variable for the run service. So rs will be equal to game get service run service, right? Then you're gonna go after the core GUI variable and you're gonna create a variable for our killer. You're gonna say killer is equal to nil. So by default, its value will be set to nil. This is going to be a string, or sorry, not a wait. I think it's a string. But the point is, this variable is going to keep track of whether or not one there is a current killer and who is that killer and stuff. So we'll know that, and we'll need to know that for the other stuff we're about to add. So you're going to scroll down till you get to the on client event function. So scroll all the way down till you get here, and then you're going to go down to find the round type, the round event, and then the round types. Events. So you're going to go down to you find the in progress event. So what you're simply just going to do is you're going to go after the for loop and stuff, right? What this means is, keep in mind, this for loop, and so this is what happens when like during the round and stuff, right? So pretty much anything that happens after the for loop is when the round is ended. So after the round is done, you're just going to set the killer variable equal to nil, because since the round is over for whatever reason and stuff, that means there's no longer a killer because everyone's going back to spawn and everything. So pretty much the way it works is that simply we're just going to set killer equal to whoever the current killer is when a round starts, and then we'll just set it to nil when the round is over and stuff. I still haven't finished the round system as of yet and stuff. We'll finalize that. We're like, oh, when the round's over, it'll bring everyone back. It'll say who won, or if if the killer leaves the game, then it'll end the round, or if the survivors win. So yeah, we're just building everything slowly, one at a time. So then you're gonna scroll down till you find the cutscene event type, right? We're gonna need to add a few things here. So one after the for loop, right? After the first for loop, you're gonna say if player.name is not equal to killer.name, which pretty much just means that pretty much what will precede this if statement is for the only people the stuff that will precede this if statement will only apply to people who are not the killer, so the survivors pretty much. So enter, you would then say player.character.humanoid root part dot anchored is equal to true. So this will make it so that they cannot move during the cutscene. We did change this, so there isn't a class value anymore. Because in all honesty, I made it wrong and stuff. The way it's supposed to be, there's supposed to be a killer class value and then a survivor class value. So it's like you can have, both equipped and stuff at the same time. Because it makes no sense to have one value, because then it gets very complicated and stuff if like, you're not selected as the killer and then you have a killer class selected. So it's just better to just make two values. So you're just gonna rename class to killer class, right? You're just gonna change that. Then you're gonna scroll down till you find the this round's killer. Yep, right here. This round's killer is, and then you're just going to simply change this, right? Yeah, we already have killer.name. Wait, I just realized. Wait. Oh, I already made a variable for it. Oh, I did make a variable. Oh, dang. I just realized I did make a variable for it. Okay. We're gonna have to change this. Okay, so we're gonna change this. So instead of um we're gonna change this to current killer. Yeah, we're gonna change this to current killer. Yeah, so just rename this variable to current killer at line 9. And then we're obviously gonna have to go down here and then just change that. I honestly forgot that I had a killer variable already here. But yeah, so you're just gonna go down here to this round as a killer, and then you're simply just gonna want to change this to killer class dot value, right? Then you're gonna keep going, find the animation track. I think I passed it already. Oh yeah, right here. So then go right here, and then change that to killer class, right? And then I believe that's it for, I think that's it for that. Then you'll go down, and then you'll go down. So after the entire thing, you're gonna skip the two ends. You're gonna skip the two ends. Then you're gonna simply just say player dot character dot humanoid part dot anchored. It's not spell anchored. Anchored is equal to false, so that the players can move once it's over, right? Then you're going to scroll down right to after the cooldown event, and then we're going to add a new event. So you're going to press enter. You'll say else if event type is equal to killer. This is when a killer has been selected. Enter, and then the round is starting. You would say new killer is equal to arg1. Then you'll say current killer is equal to new killer, right? And then boom, we're done with that event. Then you're going to scroll down, all the way up. And then you're going to create a variable called in range. This is the terror radius that everyone has been begging me for. Is equal to false. Make sure you do everything exactly as I've done it, because this can get very buggy if you do something wrong. So you're going to say rs for the run service, and you're going to say dot heartbeat connect function close parentheses enter. Then you're going to say if killer, oh my bad, if current killer is not equal to no and stuff, right? Which means a round is currently in progress. And of course, and player dot name is not equal to current killer dot name, because obviously we don't want the killer, you don't want the killer to be able to you don't want the killer, like the music that's supposed to play for the survivors, to play for the killer. So yeah, then you press enter. Then we'll create a variable for this player's character. So it's player. So yeah, don't get it confused. This is the player's character, and then we'll create a variable for the killer character. So the killer's character will be equal to you will say current killer dot character, right? Then you will create a variable called distance. We'll calculate the distance between the two of them. We'll say killer character dot humanoid root part dot position minus character dot humanoid root part dot position. Go on the outside of those parentheses and put dot magnitude. Then you'll say if in range. So if in range is set to true, enter. Then you'll say, then we'll need to create one more variable. I actually forgot to create this. You're gonna create a variable called now in range, right? Press enter to put a space. Then you will simply say now in range is equal to, then in parentheses you'll say distance is less than 27, but you guys can change the number to whatever you want it to be though, right? Then you'll say else, then you'll say now in range is equal to, in parentheses, distance is less than 25. So to explain this pretty much, right? So this pretty much just means this is like pretty much the minimum distance they need to be, like if they're within 25 studs, right? So let's say you want the music to play, like you want the music to play when they're closer and stuff, then obviously like make these numbers smaller, right? Just make these numbers smaller. If you wanted to play when like when the killer was even further away, then increase the number, right? One important thing to note if you're changing the numbers, make sure the top number, right? This top number right here, right, for the if part and stuff, make sure that it is always bigger or greater, I should say, than the second number and stuff, right? And only by a little bit. This just acts as a buffer. The two studs just acts as a buffer. So you just need to make sure it's like just pretty much just add the top number should pretty much just be the bottom number plus two. Just that's a good way to think about it. Then after that, you'll say if now in range pretty much is equal to true and not in range, enter. Then what you want to do is, right, very important, you're going to want to have your sound inside of the local script. Do not have your sound, like the music that you want to play and stuff like that, for whenever a player, whenever the killer gets close to the player or vice versa and stuff, do not have it inside of the sound service. What will happen is it'll play for everybody on the server. I learned that. I spent hours trying to figure out the issue, and that's what it was. The sound has to be in a local script stuff or something localized, but just put it in the script. So what you would do is same naming scheme. So you would click sound, right? Just like we did with the animation, follow the same naming scheme, right? You're going to put the name of the killer, right? And then you're just gonna put the word theme. So the name of the killer, just as it is inside of character folder and killer folder. So the name should match, and then just put the word theme, just like we did with the animation. And then that theme will play and stuff, right? So we will say script, regular bracket. You will say killer, you will say, not killer character, we want current killer, my bad. Current killer, dot killer, class, dot value, so the name of their current killer, dot, 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 quotation marks, and then you'll just put theme. And then you will say, we will set the time position. We will say dot time position is equal to 0. So you pretty much just, this is if you want the song, like the sound to start over every time it plays and stuff. If not, then you don't have to do this part. But yeah, and then we could just copy that to save ourselves some time. So just copy, Control plus V, and then you'll just change this to play, and then it'll play. I'm not actually going to put a sound ID in here because I don't have time for like it getting copyrighted or anything like that and stuff. So yeah, but obviously, you would insert your sound, and then you would put your sound ID. You can get sounds from the toolbox and whatnot. So then after that, you would say else if not now in range and in range, which means pretty much just means the player is no longer in range. Then you would simply just, again, copy and paste Control plus C, Control plus V, right? And then you would just say stop, right? Then you're going to go after that end before the last two ends, and you'll simply just say in range is equal to now in range, and then boom, we're done with the there you go, there's your terror radius, right? And then we already changed the spawn so that can't collide is disabled. Now we can move on to the server script. Okay, so we're going to open up the server script, right? First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable to keep track of the current killer at the top, or more so I should say their name. So after the combat module, create a variable called current killer, which will be equal to a empty string, right? Then we're going to create a function called class changer or class change, right? So the way it works is, right, simply whenever a player selects a class, y'all already know down here, where is it? Right here, we simply just change the value, which we're gonna have to change this by the way, but we simply just change the value, right? The way I had it before, like the way it currently is right now for y'all, is that every time a player like changes their class, it like, it does their health and their abilities. There's no reason to do that. That's actually wasting resources. I realize that because I realize in Forsaken, you don't see anything, like you can't see your abilities. Your player has your normal players character have their normal avatar while they're in the lobby. It only changes when they actually play the game. So we only need to actually trigger all of this stuff when the round is actually starting. So what we can do is we can go before the start round function and create a new function. We're going to say local function. You can just call it like class change or class changer or whatever. In parentheses, put player. So the player whose class will be changing, and then the class they're changing to. Enter, right? Now you're gonna go down. I need y'all to, like, bear with me, pay attention. So you guys see over here how we have the class.change function. You're simply just going to copy and paste everything inside of that, right? Everything inside of that, right? You see, from the class found variable to the second to last end. Control C, copy it or cut it, right? And then boom, there should be no errors, right? That means you copied it properly. And then you can just delete that function. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. Then you're gonna scroll all the way to the top, find your class change function, paste it into it, boom, right? And then of course we're gonna have to change some things, right? So you're gonna have some errors. Relax, we're gonna address those, right? So we already know character folder is good. We're just gonna go through everything. So the way we're gonna do this is we're simply, we're gonna do class.value that remains the same, class found, v find for child class, and then all of this stuff remains the same. And then you can just simply say, you can just change this to, player. That's really most of these issues, to be completely honest. And stuff is just changing, it's just updating the player variable. So player, and then this, we just need to access the player sprinting speed. So player.sprinting speed. So that's done. We go down here, then, if class found ability, then this all is the same. You just change this to player, right? And then that's literally it. So pretty much it's just really copying and pasting and some minuscule edits. Then we're done with that first function, and then we're going to go down to the start round function, make some minuscule adjustments here. So you're going to go down to the start round function. After we select the killer, you're going to go after that variable and then reassign the current killer variable. Wait, I just realized. Yeah, you're going to reassign the current killer variable is equal to killer dot name, right? So boom. Then we no longer need this function anymore. This was the pretty much like if the player currently had a survivor equipped, it would change the default killer. We don't need that anymore since we have two values to keep track of. So players can have both a survivor equipped and a killer equipped at the same time. So I'm just gonna delete that. You can just delete that entire function, right? And then after you're done there, we can move on. So this part, after we change the killer C frame, you're gonna call the class change function, and you're gonna send over the killer instance, comma, and then you'll just say killer class, right? So just send over that. Do not send over the value. Just send over killer class. That's all you gotta do. Do not say killer class dot value, right? Then we're gonna go down here, right? And then for here, you're gonna change this. So instead of killer dot class, this is of course gonna change to killer class dot value. And then you can just copy and paste Control C, Control V, right? Boom. Then you're going to go down here to this function, right? Then after you set the same thing, just like we did with the killer, after you set the regular survivor C frame, then you're just going to call the class change function, then send over the player, comma V, and then send over survivor class, right? Boom. You'll go down here and then you'll just change this. So just copy and paste this Control C, Control V. And then I think it's like right here, Control V. Then I think after that it was good. And then after this, you're gonna fire the remote event. You're gonna say core event fire client singular, and then fires the specific player, comma, name of the event will be killer, comma, and then send over the specific killer, or their name, I should say, right? Or actually, no, that's sending over the instance. My bad. Yeah. That's sending over the instance of the killer. And then once we're done with that, we are good to go there. We're done with that function. Then we go down here to our player added function, and then we added two values. So before we had the class value, we're going to change that. So you're going to want to rename this to killer class, right? And then just, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and Control V. Very important that you pay attention to make sure everything you're doing here is, right. And then just copy that, enter, paste, change this to survivor class, right? Survivor class. Obviously, we're going to have to change a lot of stuff since that's what we're going to be spending most of our time doing. So the Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and Control V, right? So the way you want this to work is, right, the default values, actually, I don't think they actually, yeah, actually, never mind, they actually don't matter. So yeah, just set the default value equal to an empty string for now. And then, yeah. So then from there, we will scroll down to after, our default classes, right? Then you can just simply find the owned classes folder, copy that, go right after your default class. For me, it's new, paste, and then we're gonna have a new folder. This is going to be called the cooldown folder. This is how we're gonna keep track of which this is how we're gonna make it so that each individual ability has its own cooldown. So you could just Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and then of course it'll be parented to the player, right? You're gonna set up a new function. So put some spaces, then it'll say survivor class. You'll say wait. Oh, actually, I didn't need that, did I? Yeah, I did not need that. Sorry, never mind. Never mind. That was for me when I was testing. But yeah, so then you're gonna go on to the player.character added function, and then I removed a good chunk of this stuff. Um, I think all I left was actually I left nothing actually. Yeah. So you could just delete all of this except for the hitbox stuff. Yeah. Just delete everything except for the hitbox. So it should just be, calling the create hitbox function and then just the health change function. So yeah. That remains the same. Then the died, and then yeah. So then you would come down here, and then of course you got to change this. You would change, you would just change this to survivor class dot value is equal to, and then you put your default, and then here you'd again, very important. Make sure you put your default survivor, right? Which is like one of the free ones and stuff, right? Right. So then we'll copy that, enter, paste, and then of course you'll change this. Second one will be killer class. Now do your default killer class, which for me is Jason, right? So we'll say Jason, and let me just double check to make sure we're good. Okay, we're good. So yeah. So then from there, I believe we're done with that function. So yeah, we're done with that. Now we're gonna move on to the on-server event function. So first things first, of course, we need to add some more stuff to this. So class name variable remains unchanged. You can delete that. Then what you're gonna say is you're gonna say if character folder dot killers, and then you're gonna say find for child class name. So pretty much if the player's trying to switch their killer value, then enter. Then you'll update that. You'll say player dot killer class dot value is equal to class name. Then press enter. Then you could just type the word else, and then just select everything we just did, that entire if statement. Copy that. Go right next to the else. Paste, and then just change killers to survivors, and then simply just change this to survivor class, right? So it checks to see if it's if they're trying to change their killer class or the survivor class, and then update the corresponding value. Then from there, I want to say you can really just scroll down to the combat event, right? So scroll all the way down to the combat event, right? And then after the combat type variable, you're going to create a variable called class type. So you're going to say class type is equal. Now that I think about it. Oh yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah. So you do class type, and then you just put survivor. So by default, we'll assume the players are survivor, mostly, mainly because majority of the people are survivors and stuff. There's only one killer and stuff, and then everyone else is survivors. So we'll just assume the players are survivor, and then we'll check. We'll say if player dot name. This is why we need to keep track of who's the current killer is equal to current killer. Enter. Then you'll just say class type. We'll change to killer, right? This is how we'll keep. So we'll know, right? Because pretty much only the killer should be able to, use M1s and stuff, but we also need to differentiate for, abilities and stuff. So yeah, so once you do that, you're good. Then you'll do if combat type is equal to M1, character folder, and then what you do is you'll change this. You'll change this to actually delete that whole thing after the and then you'll just say class type is equal to killer stuff, right? Because only the killer should be able to, use M1s. Then the ability for the class name, of course, you're going to have to change this. You will say player, regular bracket, class type, so that's either killer or survivor. Then dot dot dot, quotation mark, class. And then you'll just say dot value, right? And that'll just be the name of that'll just be the name of your class. And then you guys recall the whole combat module thing, where if we open up the combat module and stuff, right? I explained this in I think it was the last video. I think whichever part I did combat, right? You need to have a function for each individual character and stuff, right? If you're getting errors and stuff, it's probably if you're getting errors whenever you try to test the abilities for like because that one should work for any character as long as you have your animations and stuff. But if you're getting errors when you're trying to test abilities for characters and stuff, it's probably because you don't have a function like for each. Because remember, you need this kind of function for each individual character you have, right? This is just our example function that I made for you guys, but yeah. So then we go into the combat module, and then we just have a few changes here. I didn't need to change anything with the hitbox function. So we go down here, and then we change the animation thing, right? So animation, right here, right? You're gonna say player dot killer. Oh my bad, player dot killer class that value, right? Reason for that is because M1s only people who can do M1s are, the killer and stuff. Survivors can't use M1s, cannot use M1s. So then from there, I think because that was the animation, then yeah. So then you would just, because I think that's done. I think because that's the animation. It's line 38. Yep. Okay. So then from there, you would just go down, find the task not delay right here, and then obviously, we would just change this. So instead of doing, so you do character folder dot killers, and then you would just simply just say player dot killer class dot value, right? Then boom, that's done like that. Then we go to the noob, or your default character function, right? And then you simply have if character text that is returned, right? So pretty much this, and then you'll say or, right? Player dot cooldown folder, the folder we created, find first child, then in parentheses you just put ability name. The way it's going to work is whenever you use an ability, it's going to create a value. It's going to create a string value and stuff that's going to be the name of the ability, and it's going to insert itself into the cooldown folder. That's how you'll know if attacks on cooldown. So then after you update the player's attack status, you'll create that cooldown value I just mentioned. So you'll say cooldown value is equal to instance.new string value. Cooldown value dot name is of course equal to the ability name. Cooldown value, and then you can set the value to ability name. Then cooldown value dot parent is equal to player dot cooldown folder, right? And then we're done with that. And then you can just scroll down. I think it's just, yeah, all the way at the bottom. I think after, yeah, okay, so we changed this, right? So you're going to copy this, and then you're just going to paste that. So boom, paste that right there, Control plus V, right after they use the ability. And then you're going to change this to just simply destroy the value. You'll just say cooldown value, destroy. So boom, just like that, we are done. Let's go ahead and test to make sure everything works as intended and stuff. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, just read the description and you guys can find out how you can gain access to that and stuff. And yeah, so there's definitely a lot more stuff left to do. Like I said, if you guys run into any errors or bugs and stuff, as always, you guys already know, just let me know. Okay, so we're on spectators team. Everything's working fine so far. And as you guys can see, if you open up players, this is player 1. As you can see, I have my killer class value, and then if I open up my inventory, let me go to the shop, and I don't have any money. Okay, never mind. Unfortunately, I don't have any money. So, but you guys see, we have our killer class and our survivor class, right? And then they're set to each one individually. If I were to change my killer, it would update this value, right? So yeah, that's how things work now. So the round's gonna start in 8 seconds. We just want to make sure everything works as as intended, as normal, and everything, and that there's no errors and whatnot. So round starts. Okay. And then the cutscene, the cutscene plays, the round killer. And by the well, I mean y'all couldn't really see, but I was not able to move during that and stuff, right? Okay, so boom, and as you guys can see, I can now use abilities at the same time and stuff, right? I can now use abilities at the same time and everything. I think I can show you guys the sound thing actually. Hold on. I think I can show y'all. Or is it because that's for the survivor? Let me wait. There are no, okay. Just need to make sure because that's the survivor. I think it's working, but then it's not playing. But then I'm not sure if it's just not playing because it's empty, or I'm not honestly sure. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end the video and I'm gonna test to see and stuff just to make sure. I think it's just because there's no ID in it. It's just the empty sound. That's why it's not like set to playing and stuff. But because that might just be why and stuff. So yeah, I'll just end the video here. I'll add on to the rest of this video and stuff. If there is a problem, then I'll just fix it and show you guys to fix it in the video. If this is the end of the video and nothing else is after this, then that means, yeah, like everything is good to go. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next part of Forsaken. The series is not over. A lot more to come. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make Forsaken. I believe that this is part 7. I think this is part 7 and stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you all the disclaimer right now. As if you look in the bottom right of the screen, it is currently 4 in the morning and stuff. I'm very tired, but I just finished the stuff, so I wanted to go ahead and record the video for you guys. So I'm gonna probably make mistakes. Bear with me. And if I sound a little tired, I apologize, but I'm gonna try my best to explain everything. So yeah, so okay, part 7. I added 2 things, right? Even though normally I usually add a lot more, I feel like the video will be long enough just for these 2 things. So people have been asking me for the spectate system, so I added that. So pretty much when the players die and stuff, they're able to spectate the players that are currently alive. And I finally finalized the skin system, because y'all know we had like the skin system, but I didn't really have it to where you could buy skins, equip skins, and stuff like that and everything. So yeah, no, I finalized that and stuff. I do plan to get to other stuff. Like one of the next things I plan to get is to like map generation, like where it selects a map, teleports everybody and stuff. And then like the generators and all that stuff. Definitely stuff I plan to get to. I plan to get to that stuff since that's like core mechanics of the game and stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay. So first things first, we need to head on over to our character folder inside of server storage, open up our character folder, right? So if we open up, I'm open up the killers folder, then open up Jason. This is my default killer. You guys recall the skins folder we have, right? So you guys recall how I said the default skin needs to be named default, right? So what you need to do is inside of each skin, you want to insert a number value. So click the plus icon, insert a number value. You're going to want to name this number value to price, and then you'll set the value um of the price to, however much it costs to buy said skin. Obviously the default skin should be free by default, right? So then I'm going to make a test. So I'm going to duplicate this skin. I'm going to just rename this to just test, right? And then I'm going to set the price to like 100, right? So obviously, like I said, you need to have this value inside of every single one of your rigs and stuff, like inside of the skins folder. You need to make sure it's in every single one, so that you know the price of the skin. And by the way, make sure none of your skins have the same name aside from default. Obviously default can be the same. What I'm saying is, like, don't have a skin for Jason named Test and then also have the same thing for John Doe. Like, it needs to be like different names and stuff, right? Just so, yeah. But so that's pretty simple, just pretty minor changes and stuff. Just, modify that inside the skins folder. And then I'm obviously not going to do that for every single one. I'm only going to do that for Jason, just so I can just demonstrate that for you guys. But yeah, so then we're going to need to add 2 things to the core GUI. So let's go ahead and open that up. Let's first knock out the skin stuff. So find your shop frame, set that to visible, right? Then open that up, find the killer frame or survivor frame, it really doesn't matter. Then you're just simply going to duplicate it, scroll up, set background transparency to 0.5 so you can drag it, then just drag it over to like the left side. You just want it to be like a little to the side. And then I'm gonna change the background color to black so it pretty much matches, right? And then you're just gonna change this. You're just gonna rename this to skins frame. The way this is going to work is whenever a player clicks a killer or survivor that they currently own, this frame will open with all of the available skins and stuff that are available for purchase. So just rename it to skins frame, delete the killer text buttons or survivor text buttons inside, delete those, and then just leave the frame empty, and then that's literally it. It's just repositioning. That's all you have to do. Then obviously by default, very important, make sure the skins frame is not visible by default, because we want the skins frame to be enabled whenever the player clicks on a character that they currently own. And then obviously once you're done, just set the shop frame to no longer visible as well. Then we have one more thing to do with the UI. We need to make our spectate UI. Okay, so this is going to require us to need to insert a frame into the core GUI. So insert a new frame, rename said frame to spectate frame. We can drag this down, so it's supposed to be like in the bottom middle. I'm gonna just do like 300, I think, something like that, pretty wide. Then I'm going to set the background transparency to 1, right? I'm going to insert, let's do the text button first. I'm gonna insert a text button. I'm gonna set the size to 50 by 50, so 50, right? Oh, I just did this, by the way, 50. right? And then you're just gonna name this first one to next text button. So this is pretty much for when your player's trying to go to the next player. So then just set the text bold text, rich text, scale text, and then just change the text to an arrow, right? Because this is for next. And then I'm just gonna do the same thing, same color scheme. So black, background color will be set to black, background transparency will be 0.5. I will change the text color to white, text stroke transparency will be set to 0, and text stroke color will be black. Okay, and then I will also give it a white border, and then set the border size pixel to like 2. Okay, so then I'm just gonna drag this to like the right side of the spectate frame. Then I'm going to duplicate this, boom, and then all you want to do is just simply move it over to the opposite end, give it a good amount of space. Then obviously rename this. This is going to be previous text button. So whenever the player's trying to go back to the previous player, they were just spectating, and then obviously, get the opposite sign, so the less than sign, boom, right? We have our text buttons. Now we need our text labels. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna insert a text label into the spectate frame. We're gonna want to make this pretty small, so probably like 30. Though we want the Y to possibly be like 30, and we just want to like squeeze it. We could probably just do like 180 just so that it can fit. So I want this to be like in the middle. Might actually change this to 20 actually. So like 20, and then I'm just gonna put this in the middle. Where you put this doesn't matter. And stuff, you guys can put this wherever you want. The sizing can be whatever you want. I'm just trying to match it to how it was in Forsaken and stuff, just to clarify. And then this was the player text label in the middle. So we'll just drag this because that's not okay. That's somewhat better. So I'm just going to want to rename this to player text label. This would be the player's username, so player text label, right? Obviously, by default, have no text, rich text, scale text, bold text, background transparency should be set to 1. So I believe with the name, I believe it's like white text color with black text stroke color, and then text stroke transparency should be set to 0. Then you can just go ahead and duplicate this, right? Then for this, you're going to want to rename this one to health text label. And I remember this is supposed to be green and black. So we're going to change the text color to green, right? Then I'm going to set the background transparency to 0.5 so I can just simply move it around. So this is supposed to be a lot smaller. So this can be like maybe 50. Yeah, like 50. And then it's supposed to be, oh my bad, that is the wrong thing. And it's supposed to be above health. So we could just put it like at the top, like right there, right? So we have our health text label. Then you can just go ahead and duplicate this, drag it at the bottom. Just make sure that, we're not overlapping. Okay. So then let me grab the second one and then just go up a little. Okay. So then the third one, the one all the way at the bottom, is going to be your class text label. So class text label, and then I'm just gonna leave this as black. Set the text color to black, and then just leave that. Text stroke will be white. Okay. And this is the class text label, and then this would be the player's class. Okay, so once you're done, select your class and you can do it either individually or at the same time. Select your class and your health text label by holding the control key bind and then left clicking. Set the background transparency to 1. Again, make sure they have no text by default and everything. And yeah, just like that, we are good to go. Okay, so then go ahead and set your spectate frames visibility to false, right? Uncheck it. And let me just go ahead and, okay, we're good. So then moving on, we can now get into the scripting changes, which there are definitely a lot to get into. So let's go ahead and open up the core local script. We're going to scroll down to the 250s. So just keep going, keep going. Okay, so here, we're going to add 2 new events. So after the killer event, you're going to press enter. You're then going to say else if event type is equal to, in quotation marks, died, enter. So whenever the player dies, we want to, pretty much whenever the player dies, like a survivor that got killed and stuff like that, we want to disable certain UI but re-enable other UI. So we'll say core GUI dot info frame, oh my bad, info frame dot visible is equal to false. Core GUI dot hotbar frame dot visible is also equal to false. Then core GUI, my bad. Then core GUI dot spectate frame dot visible is equal to true since they're not dead. Then we'll say else if event type, and then one last event. We will say skins enter. So this is for when you're trying to populate the skins frame with all of where is it? The skins frame with all of the available skins and stuff, right? So we're gonna create a variable called skins list, which is equal to arg1. It'll be a list of all the skins. It'll be a list of all the skins along with their price. Then we'll create a variable for the class. Class is equal to arg2. Okay. Then use a for I loop to clear out any current text buttons that are inside of the skins frame. So for I comma v in I pairs. Then you'll just simply say core GUI dot shop frame dot skins frame get children enter. You'll say if v is a text button, enter v destroy. Then skip the two ends, right? And then moving on, I'm then going to say for I comma v in I pairs. You're then going to say skins list enter. We're going to create a text button for every single skin, as well as a price text label for the corresponding price. So what we can do is we can save ourselves some time. Just scroll down here. You'll notice all the class text button stuff. We're going to save a whole bunch of time. Just copy that, come back up, paste it, right? Rename this, of course, to skin text button. Then select it, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control plus V, Control plus V, Control plus V, Control plus V, and Control plus V. Okay, phenomenal. Then once we're done with that, you're going to change this, right? So what this is, just to clarify, this is a dictionary, right? This is a dictionary. The skins list, it's a dictionary, which if you don't know what a dictionary is, it pretty much looks like this. It's going to be the name of the skin, so like default, or let me do this. It'll be like the name of the skin, so default, and then something like that, kind of. Or it as I think I forgot how it goes, to be honest. Something kind of like this. Like it would be like that, and then uh, we'll say skin to 200 or 299 stuff, right? Like it's going to be the name of the skin followed by like the first value will be like it's going to be like a dictionary. It's going to be multiple tables. The first value in each table will be the name of the skin. The second value will be the price tag and stuff. That's how we're pretty much sending it over. So yeah. Okay, back to this. Okay. So we do need to change some properties. So I did want to help with people understanding this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable at the top. Do this a little differently than I originally did it. So I'm going to help you out, I'm going to say local skin name is equal, oh my bad, local skin name is equal to v regular bracket 1, because remember the first value is the name of the skin. Then we'll say skin price is equal to v regular bracket 2, because then the second value is the price tag, right? Now we're going to change this. We're then going to go right here, replace v.name with skin name, right? Then for the text label, you're just going to do the same thing. Just going to say skin name. Background color remains the same. Text color, text stroke transparency, and then all the text stuff. So last thing is just changing the parenting. So we parent it to make sure it's shop frame dot skins frame, right? Then the next thing we need to do is do the price text label. So we can really just copy and paste, save ourselves some time. So you can just copy what we just wrote, copy, paste, and then just rename this to price text label. Right, then just Control C, Control V, 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 and Control V. Right. Then you're just gonna go here. The name just simply changes. Just the name simply changes to price text label. Right. As for the text, you're gonna say quotation marks, money symbol, dot dot dot, and then you're just going to say price, or sorry, you're gonna say skin price. That's what I was looking for. You're gonna say skin price, right? Then background trans, then I'm gonna say price text label. That background transparency is equal to 1. Again, that's optional, but and then text color, or wait, text color was 1 1. Background color is relevant, so we can delete that line. text stroke transparency, all that greatness. Okay, so then the last couple things was the size and the positioning. Okay, so we'll say price text label dot size is equal to UTM2 dot new. You'll say 0, 70, 9, 30. Then you'll say price text label dot position is equal to UDM2.new, 0.313, 0, 1, 0. Now, this may be a little different for you. You guys may have to modify this stuff. The size, obviously, I mean, the size should be consistent, but the position, you may have to change this and stuff. Remember, X is left and right, and Y is up and down. So you may have to change that if it doesn't look right and stuff, if it's not in the right spot and everything. But yeah, and then this will change. This will be now be parented to the skin text button, right? So, okay, we are done with that part. Then moving on, we're going to use an if statement. We're going to say if player dot owned skins, which is the folder we're going to create on the server script. You're going to say find first child, and then you're going to say skin name, enter. Then you'll say price text label dot text is equal to price text label dot text dot quotation marks space, and then in parentheses you're just going to put owned and stuff, right? This pretty much just checks to see if the player already owns the skin, and if they do, it'll let them know that, okay, this is already owned. Then we'll say skin text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. This handles two scenarios. Either A, the player is trying to equip the skin they already own, or they're trying to buy a skin. So we're gonna check. We're gonna say if player dot owned skins find first child. Then you're gonna say skin. Then you're gonna say skin name. Enter. Right. And then if you do find the name, that means you're trying to equip said skin. So then you're gonna say core event fire server in quotation marks. You're going to put skins, comma. The skin type will be skin event will be equip, comma. Send over the class name as well as skins text button text, which is pretty much the name of the skin. Then you'll say else if not, then same thing, player dot owned skins find first child skin name enter, right? So if they're not able to find the so if the player doesn't pretty much own the skin, then that means they're obviously trying to buy it. Then you can just really just select this line, just copy to save yourself some time, copy paste. And then this remains very similar. We're gonna do change this to buy, change the second argument to skins, then you send over the class, and then that remains, yeah, that all remains the same. So yeah, then you're gonna skip 3 ends, and then lastly you're gonna say core GUI dot chop frame dot spectate frame, or sorry, not spectate frame, sorry, my bad, skins frame dot visible is equal to true. And then just like that, we are done with that. Then let's go on ahead and let's scroll our way down. Yeah, it's here. Okay. So before the verify, we call the verify shop function, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the skins frame is not visible. So core GUI.shop frame.skins frame.visible is equal to false. And then you can really just copy that and then do the same thing. I feel like I'm missing something here because why does it look, wait, I'm a little bit confused because they look the same. Wait, I think I put this in. Oh no, oh no, never mind, never mind. Yeah. Because when they open the shop, then it's not gonna be okay. Yeah, never mind. That makes sense. Okay, I thought I was tripping. Anyway, and then you're just gonna just copy that and then just paste that right here. Boom, and then also right here. Boom, just paste that right here. You're gonna make sure the skins frame is not visible if they switch between the two, so that it can just reset. So yeah. From there, then we're gonna go down to this for loop right here. And then you're going to change this because it says if not player to own classes find first child v.text. So you're going to go here, right, this part right here, and then you're going to say quotation marks class, and then just put a comma. This is to specify what you're trying to buy. The reason for this is I made it so that it uses the same buy event for when you're trying to buy classes and skins. So we need to clarify what it is the player is trying to buy exactly. So we're going to say buy class text. Then everything else remains the same. We're just going to throw an else if. Say else if player dot owned classes. Oh, I bet not that value. Like I said, guys, I am tired. But find first child v dot text. Enter. Then you will fire the remote event, core event, fire server. So remember, this is for when the player does not own a class. This is for when they do own said class. So then you're gonna say skins, comma, by, comma, v dot text, comma, in quotation marks. So for this in particular, I'm gonna put killers because keep in mind this is for the killer frame, right? Obviously, this is gonna be different for when we get to over to the survivor frame, which is the next thing we're gonna do. So you're just gonna copy and paste the else if part. So you're just gonna copy that, come down here, press enter, paste, boom, and then just change this to survivors. So all you're gonna do. That will, also going, going up here and then adding the whole quotation marks class and then a comma after, of course, as well. But yeah, so then that's it for that. Then we're gonna scroll down and we're gonna scroll all the way down and we're not gonna get to making the spectate system stuff. And then let me just double check we're good. Okay. See, we're already 20 minutes in and we haven't even gotten to the spectate stuff yet. But yeah, so first things first, I'm going to say core GUI.spectate text button dot activate, activated, connect function, close parentheses, enter. You're then going to say core GUI.spectate frame dot visible is equal to not core GUI.spectate frame dot visible. Then you're going to say workspace dot current camera dot camera subject is equal to player dot character dot humanoid. The reason for this is so that what's it called? Let's say if the player is just trying to return to the normal view while they're already spectating somebody. So yeah, then you're going to create a variable called current spectate. It's going to keep track of who the player currently spectating via numbers. So set it to 0 by default. Then we're ready to set up the first function. So we're simply going to say core GUI dot spectate frame dot next text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter, then create a variable called alive players. It's going to be a table. We're going to keep track of all the players who are currently alive, all their instances. So then you're going to say for I comma v in I pairs, right? Then you're going to say game dot players get children enter. Then you're going to say if v dot team is of course not equal to game dot teams dot spectator, right? Because obviously we only want players that are on that's either the killer or one of the survivors. Enter, then you'll say table dot insert alive players, comma v, right? Then skip the two ends, then create a variable for the player count. We need to keep track of how many players are currently in the game, so player count is equal to number alive of players currently alive. Sorry, I meant player count of how many players that are currently still alive and stuff, not like literally in the game. But yeah. So then what you'll do is you'll say if player count is equal to 0, enter, then return, because obviously, that means there's no one to spectate. Then from there you'll say if current spectate is less than player count, enter. And then you will say current spectate plus equal 1. Right, let me scroll down some more. Then you will say for I comma v in I pairs. And you will say game that players get children enter, and then you will create a variable for the player who you're spectating. So we'll call it spectated player is equal to alive players regular bracket. You'll say current spectate, so you'll just pretty much find the player who you're currently spectating. Then you'll create a variable for current class. This is so that we can just display whether or not they're a survivor or a killer. So current class is equal to, by default, we'll just say survivor. And then we'll change it if need be. We'll say if spectated player dot name is equal to current killer dot name, enter. Then current class is equal to, in quotation marks, you're gonna put killer, right? So boom. Then after that, the last things to do is to say core GUI dot spectate frame dot health text label dot text is equal to spectated player dot health amount dot value dot quotation marks, and then you're just gonna put percent symbol. Then let's just and then let's just go ahead and copy and paste it. So select it, Control plus C, then Control plus V, and that should be good. Now for the second one, we're changing this. Obviously, this is going to be class text label, and then just gonna change this part. So you're gonna say spectated player, right? Then you're gonna say regular bracket current class, which will either be killer or survivor. Then dot quotation marks class. Go on the outside dot value. Then come down here, and then you're going to what is this? Oh, right, this is the player text label. So player text label, and then this is just simply just going to say spectated player dot name, right? Then from there you're going to say workspace dot current camera dot camera subject is equal to spectated player dot character dot humanoid. So now the player can so now the player is spectating them, right? So humanoid. Then let's see. You can skip that and then you can say else if, and you can say else if current spectate is equal to player count. That means we want to restart, enter. Then current spectate is equal to 0, right? Then you can really just copy and paste this, all this stuff right here. Just copy, paste, and then you're just simply resetting. So this by default should just be nothing. You're literally just clearing it all out. So just an empty string. Control C, Control V, Control V, and then as for the camera subject, you're just resetting it back to your players or your character's default humanoid. So boom, we're just gonna say player.character.humanoid, right? Then we have the previous button code. The good thing is we can really just copy and paste this function and then just change a few things, and then we'll be good to go. So just copy the entire function, right? So copy, paste, right? Then just change this to previous text button, right? And then as for the changes, let's see, player count is equal to live players if player count is equal to 0, if current spectate. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, so see, this is where stuff changes. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to, what's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna clear this part out. I'm gonna clear the for all the stuff with the for loop, right? So we can clear that out, right? You're simply, let me delete that end as well. So you're simply going to say if current spectate, because this is actually supposed to be, wait, I feel like it's supposed to be up there actually, technically. Anyway, so we're gonna say if current spectate, right? You're gonna say if current spectate is greater than 1, right? If it's greater than 1, then we'll just simply say current spectate less than or equal to 1, and then you'll get rid of the if part down here, and then just make this an else statement. So boom, just say else, right? And then if anything, that remains the same. Yeah, that pretty much remains the same. Oh, right, and then after this, you'll just hit return. So it returns the function so that it does not proceed with the following. Now, if it does proceed with the following, we'll get the player, of course, that that they're going to be spectating. Spectated players equal to live players. Current spectate, right? Then, of course, same thing with the whole current class is equal to it. And this time it'll then this time, we're gonna do survivors like we did the first time. So survivor, and then just check again if spectated player dot name is equal to current killer dot name, enter. Current class is equal to, in quotation marks, killer, right? Let's skip that. And then let's see, from here you're just gonna go back up. Just gonna go back up. Where exactly is it? Oh, right here. Yeah, you're just gonna duplicate this, or sorry, copy this. So copy, then paste, and then boom. Okay, right. So we are done with the local script finally. Now we can move on to the server script, which I feel like would be a lot easier to manage, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to go down to the leader stats script. We have some new values to add, right? So first things first, let's go ahead and let's create another folder. So just copy the cooldown folder, go right here, paste, put a space. So rename this to your skins folder. This will keep track of all your skins you currently own. So skins folder, right? Control C, Control V, Control V, and Control V, right? Then on to the next thing, let's go ahead and create the values. So we'll create two values. First up is killer skin. So this is going to be a string value, right? So killer skin dot name is equal to killer skin. Then you'll say killer skin dot value by default is equal to, well, actually literally by default should be equal to default. Well, like whatever the default skin is in your game, that's what it should be set to. For me, I name the default rigs default, so I'm just gonna put default. That's how it should be, right? Then you'll say killer skin dot parent is equal to the player. Then you can just go ahead and select all of that, copy, press enter, paste, change this to survivor spawn, select it, Control C, Control V, Control V, and then the name, and then same thing with the value. Just remember that it's default. Then going over here to the died, we need to go ahead and trigger this. So this function right here, so press enter, let's trigger the remote event. So we'll say core events, fire client singular, fire client player, comma, and quotation marks. You're just gonna put dead, right? Then you're gonna just go down to the on server event stuff, go right here, add a third argument, right? So we're just gonna say comma arg3. Then I did add one thing. So anytime the player switches class, we're just gonna reset their default skin class, killer skin, or what's it called? Killer skin or survivor skin. Whenever they switch, we're just gonna make it so it reverts back to the default one. So we're gonna say player dot killer class, or not killer class, sorry, killer skin. That value, remember, it is a string value, so we'll just change this to default. And then you'll just copy, go right here, press enter, Control plus V. Same thing applies, except this needs to be for the survivor, right? So boom. Then with the else if event type by, change things. So for the first thing, go up here, create a variable called purchase type, which is equal to arg1. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Purchase type is equal to arg1. Class name is actually arg2. Then I'm going to press enter, put some space. Then I'm going to say if purchase type is equal to, in quotation marks, class, enter, that means the player is trying to purchase a class. Then we can just bring class name down there. So you can just select it. You can just select the whole thing, cut it, my bad, and then paste it, right? So then once we've done that, we then can just drag the for loop inside. So just click the arrow right here, select it, cut, go inside of the if statement, paste, right? So boom. So we did that for IV, and then just change this to I pairs. Character folder, get children, V for my first child, class name, right? And then we need to change this V for my first child class name. And then if player class folder dot cost dot value. Oh, never mind, sorry, this actually remains the same. Yeah, this remains the same. Okay, so you're gonna want to skip 3 ends, then you're just gonna say else if purchase type is equal to skins, enter, right? So then first up we have the skin name, which is equal to arg1, then create a variable for the class name, which is equal to arg3. Then you could just copy and paste this for a loop. Make sure you get the 3 ends at the bottom. Copy, paste, right? And then we have character folder get children, and then class name, Okay, so we have our class folder, then we need to get our skin. So we'll say skin is equal to class folder dot skins regular bracket, and then you're just gonna say skin name, right? And then you'll say if player dot leader stats dot money dot value is greater than, you're gonna change this to skin, and then instead of cost, it's going to be referred to as price, right? And then just go down here, Control C, Control V, Control, oh my bad, Control C, Control V. Then obviously this changes, this becomes a skin value. So then select it, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. The name is going to be obviously set to the skin name, and the value will be the value of the class stuff, right? Like if it's a JSON skin, then the value will be set to whatever the name of the class is. And obviously switch this to owned skins. All right. Then boom, you can drop down some more. Okay. So click the arrow right here, press enter, then it'll say else if event type is equal to in quotation marks, right? Then for the next thing, you're gonna have skins, enter. So this one, the player is trying to receive information on the current skins available. So create a variable for the specific skin event, which is equal to arg1. Then create a variable for said class, which is equal to arg2, right? And then we'll say if skin event is equal to, oh, that is equal to in quotation marks by, okay, is equal to in quotation marks by, enter, right? Then you will, okay, skin event is equal to, then from there you will create a variable called class type, which is equal to arg3. Then you will create a variable called skins list. So skins list, this is the list we send over to the client side. So then you'll say for I comma v in I pairs, right? And you will say character folder. You say character folder regular bracket class. You put class, then or sorry, wrong thing. Class type first, actually. Regular brackets, then close parentheses, then you'll put your class. So class type, then class, then go on the outside, and then you're just gonna say dot skins. Then you're just gonna say get children, close parentheses, enter, right? And then you'll simply say table.insert, skins list, comma, and then you're gonna, like I said, you're creating a dictionary essentially. So special brackets, then you're gonna say v.name, comma, v.price dot value. We're just gonna say dot value, and then okay, we are good. So boom, with that, then after this, negative fire then what event? We're gonna say core events, fire clients, player, yeah, player, comma, quotation mark, skins, comma, send over the skins list as well as the name of the class. Then after that, press enter, and you can say else if skin event is equal to equips. This is when a player is trying to equip their skin, enter, right? Then, by the way, guys, this is the last thing, thank God. So then from there, you're going to create a variable for the skin type, which is equal to arg3, I think, yeah, arg3. Then you have the class type by default should be equal to nothing. This is going to be either survivor or killer, right? Then you'll say for I comma v in pairs, or sorry, in I pairs, right? Then you will say character folder, get children, enter, right? And then you will say if v find first child, class, just to confirm, enter. Then class type is equal to v.name. So we know whether or not it's a survivor or a killer, right? Then lastly, we're just gonna see to confirm that they do own said skin. So player.owned units dot value, or wait, player dot, oh my bad, that's my bad, guys. You're gonna say player regular bracket, then you're gonna say class. I gotta stop recording when I'm tired, but anyway, class type, the dot quotation marks, you're gonna put skin, go on the outside, dot value, you're gonna update that. So it's gonna be either player dot killer skin or survivor skin dot value is equal to skin type, which is skin type is just simply the name of the skin, by the way. Okay, so we're technically done with the code, and then but then that's oh my bad, it's not supposed to be an if statement. Wait, I I know I wasn't tripping. My bad, guys. My bad. Okay, so if player dot owned units, right, find first child and parentheses skin type. So pretty much, yeah. To confirm, enter, and then press enter. To confirm, pretty much, and then we just cut that and then just paste that right there. To confirm that the player owns the skin, we just gotta confirm it on the server side, and then we'll let them equip the skin. So unfortunately, my stupid self just realized again. I'm very tired. I realized I finished everything else except I didn't actually make the part where it actually equips your skin based on the skin you currently have equipped. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I can figure this out. Y'all give me 1 second. Okay. So if we go over here, right? Let's see. Yeah, this part right here. Okay. So class folder description. Okay, so right here. So here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna go right here, right? So keep in mind this is for the killer specifically. So we're just gonna change this default, and then we're just gonna do delete the dot, the period, and then just gonna put regular brackets, and then you are going to say killer, because that's the yeah. You're gonna say killer dot killer skin dot value. Um, yeah, killer dot killer skin dot value. Um, yeah, that should work. Okay, then you could just really just copy and paste the what's inside the brackets, right? Then we go down here, delete the word default, then the dot again, paste, and then just change this to this time you're gonna change this to V, and then just gonna change this to survivor skin that value. Okay. Now that should work. Let's go ahead and test. This is first and foremost. Let's go ahead and publish to make sure this is working. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. So first thing first, I'm gonna click open the shop. So as you can see, if I click Jason, as you can see, we have a problem. Okay. Own skins is not a valid. Own skins is it? It's not a valid member. Skins folder. What? Wait, did I actually? Guys, I am so sorry. Did I actually name that skins folder? Why? I don't know why I named it that. I'm so sorry, guys. That is supposed to be own skins, and I literally wrote that everywhere else. Okay, so go to the leader stats stuff. Rename this to owned skins. My bad, guys. So just Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Like I said, guys, it's about to be 5 in the morning. I'm extremely tired. I apologize. Okay, first play, shop. There we go. Okay, there we go. For some reason, the money symbols appear to be, but it doesn't really matter. If we switch in between, as you guys can see, it won't show for this because I don't have any, I didn't like set up the other stuff for the other characters, but I don't know why the sizing is so big though. We could just change that real quick. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be set to 0. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, that's what it's, my bad, guys. Yeah, it's supposed to be 0 by 70 by 0 by 30. I was kind of wondering why it said 9, but I guess I was just misreading it. Yeah, there we go. So now we have the price. Um, now we have the price of everything. So if you guys look inside of own skins, if I click default, right? Um, or actually, hold on. Here's what I want to do. I want to give myself money. I don't think it worked though. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna give myself money, right? So I'm gonna give myself money. And I'm gonna click test. Yep, no, but it is not working. Okay. For some reason it is not working. Hold on. Okay. So if not player owns buy skins. Let's see. I'm so glad I tested this instead of just assuming that it worked. Okay. So um so buy and the purchase type, which is skins. If player skin that price. If player.leaps has some value is greater than equal to skin.price. Class folder dot skins, the skin name, and the class name, which is the third argument. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why that's not working, to be honest. It'd be fun for shout class name or 123, the name of the class. That should, yeah. Wait. I think I know what it is. Hold on. You guys give me a second. I think I know what it is. I think it is supposed to be because I put killers here. No, that's right. Okay. You guys are gonna have to give me a second while I figure this out off camera. So just give me a second. All right. All right, guys, we're back. So I figured out the problem. So it was right here, this problem. I sent over the information right here, wrong order. I put class, I put the name of the class and then the name of the skin, but yet it was receiving it as if the first thing was supposed to be the skin and then the class, but I sent class and skin. So we're just gonna reverse the order. So just delete that, go at the end, comma, class, right? Just reverse that. Boom, just do that on the local scripts. Remember, this is the whole skins event we made and everything. So just do that. Now if we press play, as you can see, I can open it up, right? As you can see, I can now buy skins, now own the skin. If I give my players some money to go buy a skin, right? I can buy the test skin. Boom, I can buy the test skin, right? And then it'll update. This is for killer. Then if I click it again, okay, and that's another issue. That is wonderful. Change this to skins. So this is owned, not owned units, owned skins. Okay, owned skins. Yeah, like I said, guys, that's my bad. It's my bad for all that. But yeah, okay. So we come back to the game, playtest. This is why I always make sure everything is good by the end of the video, so that I didn't just go to sleep and give you guys wrong information. Okay, so if I now try to buy it, let's see what happens. So I bought it. Can I equip it? No, I cannot. Killer's skin. Killed. Bro, what? I know what the problem is. But that's how it was supposed to be sent over. Why is, bro, I swear, why is this shit having so many issues? Literally. I mean, it makes sense because I'm tired. Let's see, guys. Hold on, let me think. Oh, I think I know. Where is the thing? Where is the thing? No, that's the wrong way. Okay, down here somewhere, spectate, killers. I swear this is supposed to be I swear, but this is supposed to be, I swear this is supposed to say this though, if I'm not mistaken though. Pretty sure this is supposed to say that. Survivors. Yeah, that is supposed to say that. Survivors, killers, the whole point is so that when it goes to the server, so when it goes to the server, it's equip class type. Okay, we're just gonna fix it. We're just gonna do it like this. Okay. So we're just gonna say, we're just gonna do this, guys. We're just gonna say class type is equal to string dot split class type comma and then precision marks. Um, I'm gonna really hope that it only takes away, and then regular back in one. I'm gonna really hope it only takes away the lowercase s. I'm gonna really hope it only does that. So we're just gonna do that so that it just should work. Let's hope it works this time. right? So I'm gonna give myself money. That should be the solution to just fix it because I don't really feel like changing it. Well, aside from what I just did. Okay, there we go. No errors. Let's see what happens. Click wrong thing. Wait, where is it? Okay, right there. There we go. Okay, so as you guys can see, I can now switch between my classes and stuff. Once I own a skin, I can now switch between the two. Okay, there we go. Now we have finally got that. Okay, I'm so sorry again, guys, that it took so long. Okay, now let's go ahead and ensure that the spectate system is working properly. Let's pray that it was working properly, and then that'll be the end of the video. So yeah, see, I should have broke this video up and stuff, but yeah. Okay. So now we're going to test the spectate system. As always, if you guys are interested in any one of my scripts or models, just read the description for more information on how to get that. But yeah, okay, so now we just gotta test the spectate system to ensure it works. Like I said, guys, I'm not gonna make no more videos while I'm tired, while I'm really tired, because that's the only reason why I had a million issues. But it's fine. We figured it out. Everything worked out. So let's pray that the spectate system works. As you guys can already see, we are not able to currently spectate any players right now. It just occurred to me. Wait. Oh no, we did make this. Oh wait, we did make it. Okay, but it's not. Oh, I know what happened. I know what happened. Yep. Actually, I don't know what happened. Survivor skin? Survivors. I'm so confused. Okay. We're now gonna have to fix this too. Again, I'm sorry, guys. Um, where am I looking at right here? Killer skin, survivor skin. Am I illiterate? I'm starting to think I'm illiterate because what's going on? Surv. What the hell? Bro, why did I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I genuinely think I must have fell asleep while talking. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Control V, Control V, Control V. Why the hell did I name this Survivor Spot? I genuinely think I must have fallen asleep while record. What the hell? All right, bro. Okay, so we're just gonna rename that. Okay, now it should work. I did go through the whole process of making the spectate text. I pray to God, I really did make. I don't think I went through this process with y'all. I really don't think I did. Yeah, I don't think I did. Okay, well, to make the spectate text button, all you have to do, go to the core GUI, insert a text button, right? Once you do that, rename the text button to spectate text button, right? Just set the size to 50 by 50, or actually better yet, just duplicate the shop or inventory text button. I just changed the text to SP, and then just rename it to spectate text button. That's literally all you have to do. And then obviously by default, make sure it's not visible. I honestly don't remember if I if I went through. I honestly God, I don't remember if I went through it or not. Okay. I'm gonna speed this up. For you guys. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna speed this up for you guys so that we don't have to sit here for literally 45 seconds. So the UI is gonna like glitch out a little because it's gonna be stuck in between like, okay, the round's about to begin and the round's currently in progress. So just ignore that. I'm gonna experience that because I'm just speeding up the countdown, or essentially and stuff, right? So the timer looks like it's going normal, but in reality, it's actually moving a lot faster instead of waiting. Up, there we go. Now the round's starting. Okay, it's playing the whole thing. All right, and that's what it means. So just ignore that. Okay, so now here's what happens. So if I reset, right, as in that is a survivor. For some odd reason, I don't have the. Why did the okay? Why did it not trigger the function? Dead. I'm so stupid. I know exactly why. I know exactly why. It's not dead. It's died, isn't it? Okay. Okay, guys. Again, please bear with me. So it's supposed to be okay. So it's supposed to be died. Go to the server script, change this to died. I am so sorry. I don't think I've ever messed this much stuff up in a single video. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, now we're gonna try again. We're gonna hope for the best. We're all gonna pray, right? Okay, there we go. The round starts and everything just right. Okay, got survivor. Reset. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm realizing what I did. Okay, so so go to the local script, right? This is wrong. This is supposed to be spectate text button dot visible. That's my bad, guy. It's supposed to be spectate text button. So change that, right? But hold on, and it doesn't work. Okay. Expected player dot name attempted next nil with name. If spectated player alive players can spectate current killer dot name. Do we not have the current killer? Oh, it's because I reset the one. Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. All right, we're gonna have to reset the test. Okay, my bad, guys. Like I said, I deeply apologize, guys. It has never been. It's never been this bad before. Stuff won't ever do a video. It's tired. My Forsaken people do not. Yeah, Forsaken. Y'all don't. I don't deserve this. My bad, guys. Okay, let's wait for the round to start, and then as long as the spectate system works, everything should be good to go. I would have honestly just stopped recording and then just told y'all just let me know if there were any bugs, but seeing as how there's been a million bugs, I didn't want to leave things be. So, okay. So now, okay, I am not the killer. Phenomenal. Okay, there we go. Now, now the spectate button is visible. If I click it, UI opens. Boom, right? Okay. There we go. Okay. I can now, there we go. I can switch in between the players that are currently live, and then I'll eventually get back to myself. So if I go here, right, if I go through them, I can just cycle through, and then, yeah. Okay. So as you can see, the spectate system works. So boom, there we go. All right, so yep, that's everything. That's the Spectate system as well as the finalized skin system. I am deeply so sorry for everyone who had to sit by and watch me mess stuff up. I deeply apologize, guys. I'm really tired, but I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and stuff. I will continue more Forsaken content. Grow Garden is next. Thank you for all the love and support you've been showing on the channel. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, despite me messing up left and right. But I appreciate y'all's support, and I hope you all can understand. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Yo, what's good on today's video? I got how to make Forsaken. This is um I I think this is part 9, I think, and stuff. But so yeah, so just got a few things in this part and stuff. I'm gonna let y'all know it's 2 o'clock. I'm a little tired. Stuff, so sorry if I make mistakes or if I sound out of it. So 2 changes. First, I made it so that the killer is selected based on the player with the highest malice instead of a random selection system, as well as I finally finished what something probably everyone's been waiting for. I finalized the round system, so now once the countdown is done, the round officially ends and stuff. If there are survivors left, then the survivors win. Um, I made it so that it tracks when survivors die and stuff, pretty much to where like if all the survivors are dead and stuff, it's gonna like every time a survivor dies, it'll check, or every time a player dies, it'll check see if they're a survivor or sorry, let me rephrase that. Every time a player dies, it'll check the current amount of survivors left alive. So if it's less than 0, or sorry, if it's less than 1, then the round ends and the killer wins and stuff, right? So handle that. If the killer dies, because someone did tell me that the killer can die, or if the killer was just to reset their character, then the round would also end and the survivors would win. So I also was able to do that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go on head on over to Core GUI, find the round frame. You can really just find the killer text label, set this to set visible to true, right? And then you can just duplicate it, and then just drag it above it, and then just go back to the old killer text label and make sure that's set to not visible. Then just rename the new one to notification text label. Here's where we're gonna put the text for like, oh, so and so team won the match or whatever. So then I'm just gonna set the background transparency to 0, and then that's really it. And then you could just make it not visible by default, right? And then that'll be inside of the round frame. Then we can get into the scripting, open up the core local script, and then scroll down so you get to the remote event stuff. So boom, we have this if event type is equal to round, so we need to add in the round type. So we're gonna go right here, press enter, then I'm gonna say else if round type, or that's not equal round, else if round type is equal to, oh my bad, is equal to quotation marks end, enter, right? I don't know why there's a breakpoint right there. Well, anyway, is equal to end. First things first, we're gonna create a variable for result. Result will be equal to arg2. Pretty much, result is like who won. Pretty much, that's all. Like this is just the text that says, oh, the killer won, or oh, the survivors won. Then we'll set current killer equal to nil since the the round is over. Break loop, you will set this equal to true, because you do also have to account for the fact that maybe that that like there's still more time left in the round, but all of the survivors died, like the killer killed all them and stuff, or they left or something and stuff, and then you need to break out of the loop so that it stops counting down for the round. Then you're gonna use the for loop to get rid of all their UI, or make it not visible, I should say. So for I comma v in I pairs, then you're gonna say player, or well, no, we already have the variable, so we're gonna say core GUI get children, enter, and then you're gonna say v dot visible is set to false, right? And then we're just gonna scroll down just literally a little bit right here to the cutscene stuff. We're just gonna do some copying and pasting. So first you want to copy and paste the color effect and stuff, which is just gonna darken our screen. So paste, right? By default you want this to have a white color, so 1 by 1 by 1. And stuff you want it to be clear, or just not really visible, I should say. Then we're gonna go down, get the fade tween, and then we're gonna copy this. Then we're gonna oh my bad, we're gonna go right here, paste once again, and then you're just gonna put the word in between. So this is our fade in tween, right? So fade in tween, color effect, and then it'll give us the black color. And then, oh wait, hold on, okay, or no, this is gray, but I want black. But it's up to you guys for what color you want. So there we go. We have our fade in tween. And then we're going to set the text. We're going to say core GUI dot round frame dot notification text label dot text is equal to results, so whoever won. Then core GUI dot round frame dot notification text label dot visible will now be set to true, and then also core GUI dot round frame dot visible will also be set to true. Then we'll say task dot wait, and then I'm just going to put 5 seconds, but it's up to you guys. Then afterwards we'll just set break loop equal to false, so that when the next round starts, they're able to the break loop variable has been reset. Then we can just copy and paste the fade tween stuff again. So copy, I actually think it was already still copied, but so just copy it, paste it, right? And then we'll just change the word in to out. So fade out tween, right? Then same thing, 1 second, and then the only thing is you're just gonna change the tint color. And now this should be 1 by 1 by 1. So just white, so clear. Just setting it back to what it was before. Then after that, we're gonna say task.wait, and then I'm gonna say fade out tween info dot time, right? Pretty much the task.wait is just whatever you set this to. Because keep in mind, you guys can set these, like this stuff, like you can set this to whatever you want. Like it can, if I want it to be longer or shorter, that's up to y'all. So I'm just gonna put task.wait so that it like fade out tween, and then just get the specific duration and stuff, so you guys can set it to whatever you want, and it'll just wait for however long that tween needs to play. Once it's done, we'll destroy the color effect. Then we will update the text. We will say core GUI dot round frame dot notification text label dot text is equal to an empty string. Then we'll say core GUI dot round frame dot notification text label dot visible is equal to false. Then core GUI dot inventory text button dot visible is set to true, and then core GUI dot shop text button dot visible is set to true. Since the round is officially over, right? So we'll set those to true. And then I want to say that's it for the local script. We can then officially move on to the server script. So we can go on ahead and go up to the server script, and then we are done with the UI and stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it's so weird why it does that. yeah, so just ignore all the breakpoints and stuff. I don't think it should cause problems. Anyway, so we're then gonna move on to the server script, and then we're just gonna scroll down. So in between the class change and start round function, we're gonna create a new function called end round. So local function end round, as the name implies, this is the function we're gonna use to end the round. Then the result, which would be whoever won or lost. Then press enter, and then you're going to set current killer equal to an empty string again. So resetting it, then you're gonna say core event fire all clients quotation marks round comma quotation marks end, and then send over the result. Then you're going to use task.wait. So task.wait 1 second. This is, like so that the screen will go black for all the players. Then you'll say for I comma v in I pairs game.players. You're going to say get players enter. Then you create a variable for our player. So player is equal to v. Then create a variable for the player's character. Character is equal to player.character. And then you will simply say player.team is equal to game.teams.spectators. And then you will say character pivot 2, and then you'll say workspace dot spectator spawn dot c frame. So wherever your spectator spawn frame or spawn c frame, wherever your spectator spawn is, then we will reset their characters so that they look like the players and not like their classes and stuff. So we'll get our description. So we'll say description is equal to game dot players. And then you'll say get humanoid description from user ID. Make sure it's from user ID. And then you'll just say player dot user ID. Then you will say character dot humanoid apply description. Then you just throw in set description, right? Oh, just a word of warning. If you're testing it like this way, like with NPCs tests and stuff like that, with NPC players and stuff like that, you're gonna want to comment this stuff out, like just put 2 slashes and stuff to like comment out both this line, like line 52 and line 53, because this won't work with NPCs obviously, since for some reason when I was testing it wouldn't work. I'm guessing it's because their names are player one, player two, and it's not an actual player, I guess. Now with regular players it'll obviously work, but yeah. Um, then we're gonna go down to the start round function. We're just gonna make a simple change here, delete the local right here, right? This pretty much makes it a global function, hence why we remove the word local so that it can be called from anywhere. And then once the reason we do that so that we can go back up here, and then you're gonna go after this end, put a little space, and then you're gonna call start round again. That way it'll loop so that whenever we end the round, the next round will already, it'll already get started. Right, so then we're gonna move down to the already here, the start round function, right? So after that, we're then going to go right here to the if number of players right here. We're going to say current killer is equal to an empty string. We just got to reset that and stuff. I actually forgot to do that before. Then we're going to go down here, and this is replacing the whole thing I was talking about. So we're just going to replace everything from like random username up to username list. We're just going to replace this. So we're going to create a variable for our killer. Oh wait, I just realized I already have. Wait, I just realized I actually already have a variable for. Oh, actually, oh yeah, no, I see what you're doing. Okay, so yeah, you're just gonna create a variable for your killer, which we can just use this, so we can just delete this. So by default, you just won't assign this to a value, and then this will give you an error, but just hang tight for a second. So then we're gonna create a variable called highest malice, right? And we'll set this equal to -1. The reason why you want to set this to -1 is, let's say everyone in the server has has 0 malice, then obviously you got to choose somebody, so we can't set it to 0 and stuff, because then that would be assuming that everyone has, or that someone has at least more than 0. So we're gonna set this to -1. Then we're gonna use a for loop. We're gonna say for I comma v in I pairs. Then you will say game dot players get players enter. Then you will say if v dot leader stats dot malice dot value is greater than the highest malice enter. So if it's greater than that value, then we'll update the killer to the new instance. So we'll say killer is equal to that new player, and then we'll also update highest malice is equal to v dot leader stats dot malice dot value. Then you're going to go after the for loop, right? And then we're going to reset whichever player was chosen as the killer's malice. So we're going to say killer dot leader stats dot malice dot value is set to 0, right? And then boom, we're done with that. Then we're gonna scroll down a little bit, And then right here, obviously we have an error. So we're just simply just going to change this to current killer, because remember that's the name of, that should be the name of the current killer, right? Then we're just going to scroll down right here and stuff. This is obviously supposed to be set to 1 second, but you guys don't have to change anything with that. It was just a way for me because I left it like that by mistake after testing before. Then we're going to skip this end. Then we're going to say if current killer is not equal to an empty string, enter, which means there's a current killer, right? Then we can say, hold on, because isn't there already a, or, oh no, that's current killer. Okay. Okay, so we'll go back down here. Then we'll create a variable for our killer. So we'll say killer is equal to game.players, find first child, right? And then you will say current killer because that's the name of our killer. Then create a variable for our active functions. We're going to create a table actually. Active functions is equal to an empty table, right? The reason why I'm making this a table is because I assume in the future, in future parts, if I make future parts and stuff, I'm gonna probably add more functions and stuff, like when the enemy, if the killer was to leave or something and stuff like that. So I'll probably have multiple functions running. So I just made it a table so that we can collect everything. So then we're gonna say table.insert. Make sure you pay attention here. We're gonna say active functions, comma. You're gonna say killer dot character dot humanoid dot died connect function, close parentheses, and then you're gonna go right here, press enter, right? And then you're going to call end round, and then quotation marks, you're going to put the survivors have won, to exclamation marks, right? So this is obviously, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Whenever, if the killer was to die, or if they, reset their character, or if someone kills them, then we use the for loop. So for I comma v in I pairs active functions enter, and then we'll just disconnect all those functions, save ourselves some resources. So disconnect. Boom. Then we will skip 3 ends actually. We'll skip 3 ends to get out of this, to break us out of this if statement. So we'll do that. Then we'll say task dot wait. Now here, whatever number you put here should match this number, right? So however long your round is, pretty much. If your round is 4 minutes, then you put 4 minutes in seconds here. But since my rounds are 3 minutes, I'm just gonna put 180 seconds, right? And then you're gonna count the amount of survivors. So survivor count is set to 0. Set by default. Then you'll say for I comma v in I pairs game dot players get players enter. Then you'll say if v dot team is equal to game dot teams dot survivors enter. Then you will say survivor count plus equal 1, right? Then afterwards you'll check to see the amount. You will say if survivor count is greater than 0 enter. Then that means the survivors have won. So we'll call end round and we'll say once again the survivors have won. Boom, right? Then we are done with our changes to that function. We're going to scroll down here to the player added function, make a few changes. So right here we have the character.human died. You're going to go after we set the player's team to spectators. You're going to say if current killer is not equal to an empty string, which again just means there's currently a killer. Press enter. Then you can really just copy and paste this line. So select it, Control C, delete it, and then just Control V. Right? Then you're going to go after this, and then you're going to literally do the same thing. So we really just scroll back up and then just copy and paste like this part right here. So Control C, Control V. You're just gonna survivor count. Yep, that's all the same. Survivor count plus equals. Then only difference is you're just gonna change this. So this is for when anyone dies. So we're gonna say if survivor count is less than 1, which means no survivors are alive, then the killer has won. So I mean, you could either put, I mean, I don't know what you want to put. You could put the killer has won, or I just put the survivors have lost. That's just what I put, but it's up to you guys for which one to put. It's completely up to you guys. And then yeah, so that's all the changes and stuff. I would test it, but like I said again, it gets a little weird, and it gets a little weird like unless it's just in an actual server, because I'd have to like change some stuff. I don't want to confuse people. Plus the fact that I don't feel like sitting here waiting for 180 seconds and stuff for 3 minutes and stuff, waiting for that. So everything should work. There were minimal changes and stuff. If there are any issues, let me know in the comments. I'll figure out a fix for all that and stuff. Um, so I'll continue the Forsaken series so long as it continues getting love and support. If it doesn't, then I'm not gonna make more videos. I'm gonna focus on Brain Rot and other possibly new series I have coming soon. So yeah, but if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the love and support you guys been showing on my channel. I really do appreciate it. Hope all you are having a great summer, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Yo, what's going on today's video? I got how to make Forsaken. This is part 10 to the series. Just letting you guys know the series is wrapping up. Stuff like I've covered most of the basic mechanics and stuff for the game, so maybe I'll do like one or two more part, maybe and stuff. But for the most part, the series wrapping up since I've showed most of the things and stuff. The whole since we've the round system, the killers, the survivors and whatnot and stuff. But yeah, so thank you guys for all the love and support you have shown on the channel and the Forsaken series. So in this part, I got some simple things. The video is gonna be pretty short. So one, I fixed a bug that someone pointed out to me, that the chase theme was still played despite the round having ended, and I added something a lot of people have wanted. I think literally the two things that people have wanted that I haven't done the most is just last man standing and the generators and stuff. Um, but yeah, so I added last man standing. I honestly thought it was gonna be a whole complex process and stuff. Honestly, it's like a few lines of code. I mean, if you want to add more stuff, you guys have that for you too, which I'll explain later in the video. But let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up our local script. We're gonna scroll. Damn, I did not realize I had this many lines. So we're gonna scroll down here, right? So you're scrolling. You guys recall the terror radius system, right? The RS dot the run surface dot heartbeat. I don't know what the hell just happened. Anyway, so the run surface dot heartbeat system, right? Or function, I should say, right? So this, we need to make sure that the music, if it's already playing, we need to make sure it stops and stuff if, or a round is ended and stuff. So you're gonna go right here. You're going to then proceed to press enter, and let me just double check, make sure. Okay, I'm good. All right, so you're gonna go right here. You're then gonna say else if current killer is equal to no, which means a round is currently not in progress, right? Then you're gonna press enter, and then you're going to say for I, comma V and I pairs. Now I do want to clarify. I have a last man standing sound right here and stuff, right? So I have a sound right here, last man standing. It's empty sound and stuff, right? Again, I get all my sounds from the toolbox, so you just go to the toolbox and get your sound, or insert the type sound and then just not sound group sound and then just insert your not animation your sound ID into it, right? Now I'm assuming that there are different. I don't think there are different last man standing themes for killers or anything. I think it's just simply just different ones, like just different last man standing sounds. So you could just make like a randomization system if you wanted to like just randomly guess it or whatnot and stuff. But anyway, so I'm just gonna say for IV in pairs, and then I'm gonna say script get children, right? Enter. Then we're going to say for I, comma V in I pairs. Actually, ignore what I just said. I just realized we're talking. I just realized what I'm doing right now is not for last man standing. This is fixing something. Never mind. Ignore what I just said. But anyway, we're gonna say script get children. Then we're gonna say once we've done the for loop, we're then going to say if v is a sound, not sound service, if v is a sound, right? And string dot find, you're going to say v dot name, comma, then quotation marks, you're going to put the theme. Keep in mind what we're looking for here. Remember this is for our chase themes and stuff. So if you're looking for anything that has the word theme inside of the script or parented to the script, um, and v dot is playing, of course. Right? We need to make sure the sound is playing, enter, and then if it is, we'll stop the sound. So boom, that fixes that bug. Now for the last man standing, which is what I was explaining about how you need to just have your sound in there, right? So we can then open up the server script service. We need to go up here and we need to create a variable. We need to get a new service. So go up here, press enter. Then we're gonna say local ss. We're gonna create a variable for the sound service. So we're gonna say game get service sound service because we want the last man standing theme to play for the entire server and stuff instead of just a single player or like two players or something. And then we're just go down to the player added function, which is right here, and then right here. I don't know why the breakpoints be doing this. I don't know why I'd be doing that. Anyway, so we're gonna go right here, right? So if survivor count is less than one, so we're just gonna go right here, press enter. So then you're gonna say else if survivor count is equal to one, which means it's time for last man standing. Press enter. Now, to my understanding, all that happens is like the round goes to like I think a minute and a half. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Or if it starts at a minute and a half, I don't know. But the point is, from my understanding, all that happens is that music starts playing. I honestly thought it was like a whole thing, like there are effects and like the killer gets faster or something. But no, apparently all it is just the music just the music starts playing. So I'm just gonna say ss dot last man standing colon play. So we're gonna play the last man standing music. Now, if you let's say you want to add more stuff, right? You would add it exactly where I'm at right now. This is where you would add it for last man standing. And so this is exactly where you would add it and everything. You would, if you I don't know if you wanted to say like, oh, if you wanted to say like, oh, if you wanted to get the killer, for example, like if you wanted to make the killer faster or slower, remember you have the current killer variable at the top, which has the killer's username, so you could get their character, make them faster, slower, whatever you want to do. So you could add the rest of your last man standing code right here, right? Then I'm going to say else if survivor count, right, is equal to 0, enter. So this is just simply to just wrap things up, right? And then you're just going to say if ss or regular bracket, or actually no, ss dot last man standing is dot is playing, enter, and then you just say ss dot or ss dot last man standing stop, right? So boom. You could use a variable to keep track of what theme is currently playing for, or like what soundtrack is playing for Last Man Standing, or what you could do is you could just have a folder of Last Man Standing themes inside of the sound service, and then simply just make them all stop it, or just check if one is playing and then just stop it if it is playing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was going to be a very quick video. I thought it'd be longer. I thought Last Man Standing would be a lot more complex and stuff, but it was honestly pretty simple. So yeah, if you guys want to add anything else, just literally put it here. If you don't know how to get the killer's character instance, you would just say uh, killer. You could just say like killer character is equal to game.players find first child, and then remember we have the current killer, which is the name of the killer. Um, so then you could now make changes to their walk speed. You could make them faster, slower, give them more health, less health, whatever you want to do. Less health, I should say. And then if you want to change anything with the survivor, remember that's the player because, wait, no, sorry, not the player because because they died. What you would just simply do is you would just use this for a loop. You could just use this for a loop. You would just, you could just copy and paste this. You guys don't have to do this, by the way. I'm just simply demonstrating for you guys. You could just Control C, Control V, and then you would just say if v.team, which means this player, and then you could just get your character instance. So survivor character is equal to v dot character, right? And then boom. Then you can make changes to survivor if you want. So yeah, just add all your last man standing code here, right? So boom. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely leave a like and subscribe and stuff. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, just read the description to find out how to get access to that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next.